Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, coming to you on a Monday evening. This will be our last podcast of the year. Christmas Day falls on next Monday. New Year's Day falls on the following Monday. So this is it. Goodbye, 2023. We had a phenomenal year. I guess about 50 podcasts. Jason and I were able to be very consistent all year, get a huge amount of great podcasts done, and I'm looking forward to this last one. We'll go out with a bang. It was a phenomenal weekend, Jason, with great NFL games, some games on Saturday, Sunday, big UFC on Saturday night, a lot of NBA action. This will be really nice to be able to put a cap on 2023.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. It was an incredible year, great year of sports. A lot of changes, especially when it came to the NBA with the in-tournament stuff. It was really good, man. Great year of sports.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, awesome. I loved it beyond belief. Really added a ton of entertainment and fun to my life, and our viewers and listeners are saying the same thing. I can't wait to hear all the comments. We've been getting just so many views and comments lately. So yeah, please write in. Give us your feedback on the top stories and the best moments of 2023. I'd love to hear them from you too. So I guess the biggest thing that wasn't NFL, NBA, UFC related for me was the Vancouver Canucks. They are second in the NHL right now. They are the first team to 20 wins in the whole league. They had back-to-back games on Saturday, Sunday. Early starts, 11 a.m. and noon yesterday. They got 3 out of a possible 4 points. They lost in a shootout on Saturday, but they won yesterday. And this team is just unbelievable. After 32 games, they have their best record in the history of the team. 21 victories and a couple of losses in overtime. Just think that this team has just really come together and assembled so well. I'm loving watching this team. It's first time in many years that this team is really fun. I need to tune in, and yeah, the buzz around locally is just phenomenal around here.
You know what? It's actually truly shocking from where they were a couple of years ago and how disgusted the fan base was with this team to where they are now. Like, for me personally, quite shocking. Where I'm just like, I don't know what it's attributed to. Is it because of Quentin Hughes' rise? Is it because of Rick Tocchet saying, you guys got to have some responsibility. You got to have some pride in the way that you play. All right. And I think all of these things have coalesced to make this team into what it is today.
Yeah, they sure have. Yeah, it's good that you mentioned Tocchet. I think he's just definitely brought in a system. They want to play hard for him. He demands it. And they seem to really respond to everything that he's asking them to do. I'm loving Brock Besser's turnaround. He's probably going to win the trophy called the Bill Masterton Trophy this year for the most perseverance and coming back from adversity. He's leading the league in goals. He's got his 24th last year. Has struggled the last couple seasons with a lot of off-ice issues and troubles. Quinn Hughes is leading the pack for the defensemen, has the most points for defensemen. Thatcher Demko playing incredible in goal. This third line that the Canucks have, probably the best third line they've had in maybe their history, but at least a good dozen years. So the management has really been able to assemble a very, very balanced, great team from first line all the way down the fourth line, from your first defenseman all the way through your seventh, your top goalie, your backup goalie, everybody. It's just everybody seems to be contributing to the best of their abilities, and yeah, it's remarkable to see the turnaround with this organization.
It's always good to see something that they've worked so hard to finally build come together, and with so many people trying to put their input in, and then for it to finally come together, and they're like, "We're good." We did it.
Yeah.
We're finally good.
Yeah.
We got it. We got
Finally
there.
got it. Yeah. Yeah. And
Great.
32 games is, a very long amount of games. It's not just a flash in the pan, 5, 10, 20 games. It's 32 games. It's nearing half season already. And another thing that I noticed on the weekend, one of Canucks top players, Elias Pettersson, he was hit into the boards by one of the Nashville players, Reese Johnson. Their new defenseman that they picked up, Nikita Zadorov, came over, dropped the gloves, started pounding on the guy. 6'5", 250, and he's a big boy. He's a very fast skater too. A lot of people criticized him because he got an instigator penalty, he got a 5-minute penalty, and a 10-minute misconduct. He was gone for the rest of the game, and Nashville ended up scoring, making it 4. It was 4-2. They scored it, made it 4-3, and gave them a chance at coming back. But I think the Canucks and a lot of people that follow this team really want this element where you can't just take advantage of these players, hit them without repercussions. And it was great to see the newest Canucks stand up for his teammate. Pettersson said, wow, it was so nice to see him do that. And I think it was an element that they've been missing for a really long time.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that because I remember seasons where Elias would get hit like that and nothing would happen. Nothing would happen. Nobody would stand up for their teammate. Nobody would do anything.
Yeah.
And I've always thought to myself that was egregious. That you can't have that. Like if your teammate gets done in like that, there has to be somebody that steps up and says, "Oh, you think you could take advantage of our star? No, you cannot."
No. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Sorry, I said Johnson was from the Predators. He's from the Wild. Sorry about that. That was on the Saturday game. Canucks do play the Predators tomorrow in Nashville. Then they play Dallas on Thursday. The next home game for the Canucks is on the 23rd on Saturday. They host the Sharks. Then they play the Flyers and then the Senators. Senators on January 2nd. I'm trying to get tickets for that game. My brother-in-law, my sister, my brother-in-law, and my niece and nephew are coming from Australia. That whole entire family has never seen an NHL game, and so I'm trying to get tickets. Really hoping that I can. It's sold out completely right now, and there are tickets on the secondary market, but they're 150 plus, and so I'm trying my best to see if I could. Find something a little more reasonable. Fingers crossed I do, but even if I do have to spend 150, I probably will. And at least a few of us will go and give them an experience that they've never had. I'm trying to think of getting them right down on the glass so they can see the speed, they can see the collisions, and they can just see the beauty of the game.
That would be very cool. And then also too, they can bang on the glass. It's like, hit him, kill him. You know what I mean? Like they can really get into it. Yes.
Yeah. So, speaking of Ottawa, they are on a Western swing right now. They lost their 4th game in a row over the weekend, and they decided today to fire their coach, DJ Smith. He has been sent packing. They have fallen 4 games below 500 because of this latest swoon. And all of a sudden, the fans started chanting, "Fire DJ" over the past month. He wasn't able to weather the storm and turn this thing around. And they decided to make him walk the plank today. It was probably very expected because it just seemed like they had either tuned him out or they just weren't able to, rally around him and get the wins. So they've made a change there today.
Well, you know what? That's probably for the best because, as an organization, if you're headed in the wrong direction, something needs to happen, a change needs to happen, and a major change at that. So, yeah. Unfortunately, he had to walk the plank.
Yeah. They've replaced him with 71-year-old Jacques Martin. Martin coached Ottawa for 9 seasons from mid-90s, 96, I think he started there, 9 seasons. They probably had their best ever in their franchise's history, the best ever stretch there. And so they've decided to sort of reach back into the archives, bring him back. I don't know if that's a smart move. I don't know how tuned in he is, how much the younger players will listen to a guy that's in his 70s. I guess we'll have to see. It's to me, it's a kind of a risky move.
Sounds like a risky move, but also too, if you were to compare the teams for that team that is on the ice now compared to the team he coached then, I think they had like a lot more talent, like
Yeah.
a lot more talent.
Way more talent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they sure did. Yeah, definitely. Well, one of the captain of the team, one of the guys that was on that team, they've decided to bring him back. He'll be behind the bench as well as the associate coach, Daniel Alfredson. So great to
Okay.
see him back in the organization. He was the longest serving captain in their history. And I think the players will definitely listen to him. I think he'll add a great element to the team. And I think it was a very smart hire to be alongside Jacques Martin behind the bench.
Yeah, definitely. Like that is smart. And then also too, maybe possibly grooming Alfredson to take over at some
Yeah.
point in time as well. That could be a possibility.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that for sure. It got me thinking about the longest tenured coach for one of the Canadian teams. And then I saw a graphic today. Somebody else was thinking the same thing. There's 7 teams in Canada in the NHL. 4 of them have changed their coaches this calendar year of 2023. Tocchet in January. Chris Knobloch took over from Jay Woodcroft in Edmonton in November. Ryan Huska took over for Calgary in June, and Jacques Martin now here. Rick Bowness in Winnipeg took over in July of 2022. Martin St. Louis in February of 2022 for Montreal. And Sheldon Keefe, the longest serving coach of a Canadian NHL team, all the way back to November of 2019. So a lot of change. 6 of the 7 teams in the past year, 2022 and 2023, and one franchise has the guy around for since 2019. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is absolutely nuts. But then at the same time, it's like these changes needed to happen because they weren't having success. So that's why things had to happen.
That's why, yeah, it has to happen like that. Too bad, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah, hopefully, I really, want these most Canadian franchises to do well. I know a lot of people have hatred on for certain, other Canadian cities when they're a fan of one team, but I really want to see a lot of the Canadian teams flourish. We got to break that super long Stanley Cup drought here. We haven't had a Stanley Cup winner since 1993. So, one of these teams has to emerge and finally break that drought. It's just been crazy how long it is.
Yeah, that is actually way too long. And also too, we have a lot of good teams up here. Yeah. So eventually that has to change. That has to happen. Can't have Americans just keep taking our cup over and over and over again.
No, we can't have that. Yeah. Another great thing that happened over the weekend was the PNC Championship. Tiger Woods was playing with his son Charlie Woods. Man, it was fun to watch. This 15-year-old kid can blast the ball 300 yards down the fairway. The kid is gonna be phenomenal. I would never say that he's gonna be able to surpass his dad in the accomplishments that Tiger had, but to be this talented this soon, it's pretty remarkable to watch the rise of this kid and see him. He started, I think they've done this tournament about 4 years, and to see him as a very, very, very young kid, first year, he's really grown up over the last 4 years. And they had the second best round on Sunday. They were a little far back to catch the leaders, but it was really fun to watch. This tournament's great. It's nice to see fathers playing with their sons, mothers playing with their daughters, and their some guys are playing with their fathers. It's awesome. It's really, really a cool tournament.
No, it is a pretty cool tournament. It's also cool for us because you get to see it's like the potential for seeing your future. The
Yeah.
future of like, oh, okay, so Charlie taking over the old man. This is good. This is good.
Yeah. The guys that won were Team Longer. Bernhard Longer, I believe, is 69 years old, and his son must be, he's got to be like in his late 40s. And they're the guys that won the tournament at 25 under par. It was crazy. Longer is just still such an incredible golfer, pushing 70. And his son's, not in his prime at all for golf. He's, a lot older than you expect, but they just went on an absolute tear on Sunday. They buried their first 7 holes. They ended up shooting 13 under on that final round and took over the tournament and won it all.
Okay, so do they feel good about like especially Bernard's son, where he just goes, "See that, Dad? I took that little kid out. Took him out."
Yeah. It's not like a physical game where you're,
Yeah.
elbowing the guy and shoving him down or anything, but
Yeah.
maybe he's like, "Hey, Dad, I told you I could beat the 15-year-old kid.
Yeah,
I
right.
took
No
him
doubt.
out."
And just like, oh, you see that hit? I'd like to see you do that. You can't do that. I know you're 14. I don't care. I'm here to win.
Yeah. Yeah, that is funny. That's funny to think about that way. But yeah, I was blown away that team won it all. There was some really good teams. David Duval's kid, young kid, VJ Singh and his kid, they ended up finishing in 3rd place. Retief Goosen, Tom Lehman ended up 4th and 5th, and then Stuart Sink also tied for 5th. John Daly and his kid were in there. And then Tiger Woods also tied for 5th place, 19 under. Team Kuchar, they entered the day leading the tournament, and they ended up all the way down into a tie for 5th place. They only shot 4 under on the day, and everybody else blew that score away. I'm not sure why they struggled. Maybe the pressure got to them or something, but it was an awesome tournament, as I said.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Maybe for Kuchar, maybe the son's like, yeah, the old man didn't pull his weight. That's why we lost.
Maybe, yeah. Could have been. I mentioned last week John Rahm moved over from the PGA to the Live Golf Tour, and at the time reportedly the contract was for 300 million. I saw a story today that actually says the figure is about $550 million. So we way undersold this. I don't know where the initial reports came out 300, but 550 million. And they asked a few guys, most namely Victor Hovland over the weekend, what did he think about this move? And he's like, man, of course you got to make that kind of move. He's like, I'm not begrudging anybody for doing it. The PGA ended up reversing their sentiment about Live and deciding they were going to jump on board with them and get together. And he's like, good on him. I think it was a smart move, and 550 million. Yeah, it was a brilliant move.
It's a no-brainer at this point in time. It's like a no-brainer. And the PGA can't say anything to you about it. Not anymore. They're not on the moral high ground anymore. That ship has sailed. That is over.
Yeah, PGA is about to announce an agreement as well. The Live deal has not been consummated. They have not been able to come together in this agreement. So they've actually reached a proposed agreement with an organization called the Strategic Sports Consortium, and that is a bunch of billionaire team owners that have come together and want to invest in the PGA. They are right now saying they're going to give about $3 billion for them. And the guys that are involved are Arthur Blank, the owner of the Atlanta Falcons, Wick Grusbeck, the owner of the Boston Celtics, Tim Werner and John Henry, the owner of the Boston Red Sox, are among the few of the billionaires that are are doing this. And in my opinion, this agreement maybe supersedes what the Live has put together, and maybe they will not move towards Live, and they will stay separate entities, and the PGA will just be utilizing this money to try to lure players and try to run their organization.
This is getting super confusing. You know what I mean? Like, where it's just like, well, why would you come out and say all of this stuff,
Yeah.
have all the players up in arms, and then finally at the last second be like, I guess we couldn't make it work. We didn't follow through. Like, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
What are you doing?
strange.
It's
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah, it's very strange. And yeah, I'm not sure exactly if this Live thing does come together. I don't know how involved this strategic sports group will be. I hear that they're trying to dot the I's and cross the T's. The agreement that the framework partnership agreement is set to expire on December 31st. So they've only got a couple of weeks left. They might extend that supposedly if progress is being made. So yeah, we'll see how it shakes down. But this $3 billion is a huge injection of money, and it might really start leveling the playing field if they decide that they can't come to an agreement.
Yeah, it would definitely level the playing field for sure. And I guess it just gives the PGA another real viable option if they can't come to terms with Live.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's turn to the NFL. We had week 15. The playoff picture is really starting to come together. Heading into Sunday, actually, I guess heading into Saturday, 30 teams still had a mathematical chance of making the playoffs. 30 out of 32 teams still had a chance. Now it's been reduced to 6 teams. They're out of the mix now. But it's incredible, the parity and the ability for that salary cap in this league to create this many teams still being in the mix this late into the season, still having an opportunity in playoffs. It's incredible and crazy.
No, it is, and it's great for the fans to know that your team still has a chance to make the playoffs. So that's a good thing.
We had those 3 Saturday games, which were really fun. I love it when we get to this time of the schedule where we're going to have games on Saturday, Sundays, and Mondays. This week's going to be pretty damn great, and it's fun to have games on Christmas. We don't get that too often. We always get NBA games on Christmas, but we get some games this year on Christmas and New Year. So I want to just, before we get into individual games, I want to just kind of say how the NFC playoff picture looks at this moment. In the NFC, the 49ers have clinched a playoff spot along with the Eagles. 49ers lead the NFL with 11-3 record. The Eagles are 10-3 going into tonight. It was 10-3 for the Eagles at the half in that game against Seattle. I'll do an update in a little bit. And then we've got the who do we got in third? 10-4. Who was? Oh yeah, the Detroit Lions, 10-4. And then the Tampa Bay Bucks are 4th place in the NFC, leading their division at 7-7. Cowboys have fallen down to 5th with a 10-4 record, and the Vikings and the Rams are both in 6th and 7th with a 7-7 record. There's many teams in the hunt with a lot of teams. Those 3 teams that are in playoff positions right now only at 500. The Saints are still in the mix at 7-7. Seahawks at 6-7 going into tonight. Falcons, Packers, both at 6-8 still there. And even the Giants and the Bears at 5-9 still have an opportunity at the playoffs. So how do you think this is shaping up? Well, what are you starting to see emerge? And obviously those top 2 teams, are quite elite, but where do you see the rest of it sort of shaking out?
Well, I kind of think that the Bucks will hang on and I think that they'll keep their positioning there.
Right.
I think Dallas will keep their positioning as well. Um, and I believe in Detroit. I think Detroit might be a dark horse out of the whole NFC.
Yeah.
I think if they can get hot at the right time once they hit the playoffs, I think they could be a very, very dangerous team to play against.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, they sure could be. Yeah, they've been playing great most of the season, and yeah, I think that they're a scary team for a lot of teams out there. Okay, the AFC has emerged as well. The Ravens are the only team that have clinched right now a playoff berth. They're sitting in #1 position at 11-3, looking like they could get the bye. Dolphins are 10-4, second. #3 is the Chiefs at 9-5. Then we've got the Jags sitting at 8-6 and fourth, and then the Browns, one game ahead of everybody in fifth at a 9-5 record. Then we've got 4 teams at 8-6. 2 right now in the playoff positions: the Bengals and the Colts, the Texans and the Bills on the outside looking in, and then 2 other teams still in the hunt: the Steelers and the Broncos, both 7-7. Okay, do you see the positions changing at the bottom of the conference, with the Bengals and the Colts right now in, the Texans and the Bills right now looking out? Do you see a bit of a change there happening?
I think the Bills could still possibly that could be a change. With the Texans, though, I would definitely be going for them if Stroud was in as their quarterback. But since he's out, I don't think they have enough to get in.
Yeah,
I
don't know if he's going to be out for very long. He was under the concussion protocol, so usually a guy has to miss about a game typically if it's, not like severe concussion. But yeah, I think he'll be back this coming week.
If he's back this coming week, then I'll give it to him. But if he's not back this coming week, then that means his concussion was a lot more severe than we thought.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
I was quite surprised with the Colts. We'll get into that a little bit later, but Jonathan Taylor out. They had Zach Moss ended up getting hurt a little bit, and they ended up utilizing their 3rd and 4th running backs, and had an amazing day on the weekend.
Yeah, no, it was actually quite surprising that they still had like a running game. And it's like, wow, you guys got a stable running backs that are that good.
Yeah,
like that's a wealth of running backs that not a lot of teams have at all.
And the Bengals really playing well since Jake Browning's taken over for Joe Burrow. I'm very impressed with him, and this team is not just fallen down like a lot of people expected them to.
Oh, I expected them to fully fall apart because I was like, Jake, who? I don't know who this Jake is. Is he plays quarterback? Oh, that's kind of cool. But he's really acquitted himself well, and he's given this team a chance to make the playoffs where everybody counted them out, including myself.
Yeah. I think the touchdown of the weekend was from those Bengals when T. Higgins made the catch right in the corner of the field. As he was falling out of bounds, he pushed the football across the end zone line and ended up getting the TD. I think that was my favorite TD of the entire weekend, and it was spectacular athleticism that he showed there.
Oh, yeah, that was ridiculous. I didn't think he would score on that play, and then when he did that, I was just like, just to have the spatial awareness to know it's like, I'm real close. All I got to do is do this. It's like, oh, I was impressed.
Yeah, it was amazing. Big note today that happened. Nathan Rourke was claimed off of waivers by the New England Patriots. Rourke had to be put onto the active roster when Trevor Lawrence went down and was injured. Lawrence ended up playing on Sunday, so they had to put Rourke back on the practice roster. They had to waive him to do that. The Patriots said, no, we're going to pick him up and put him on our active roster. And I think this is great. At least somebody else wants him out there. And it hasn't gone very well for the quarterbacks in the Patriot system. Maybe this is exactly what he needed.
I think it is exactly what they needed, because I know the Patriots, they need a quarterback, like somebody that can actually play the position, because Bailey Zappi, Not gonna do it. He's not gonna do it for you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so cool. Too bad it's so late in the season, but hopefully he'll get some snaps under center. I would not like to play for the hoodie, but at least you're getting a shot and getting some NFL money. Yeah, Mac Jones has been relegated way back there. Bailey Zappi hasn't been able to really do much, and maybe they'll be able to get him up to speed quick, and maybe he'll get a couple starts before the end of the season.
Now, but I heard a report. I may be wrong in this assumption, but I thought that Arthur Blank was going to part ways with Bill Belichick possibly by the end of this season, anyways.
You're not thinking Arthur Blank. You're thinking Robert Kraft.
Robert Kraft. Sorry, Robert Kraft. Thank you. Thank you about that. Robert Kraft. I heard something about the possibility of them parting ways at the end of the season. So if that were to be true, and then all of a sudden Nathan Rourke doesn't have to deal with Mr. Negative all the time, and he's like, oh, we're getting a coach with positivity? This is great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, there's been so many rumors because the Patriots have been so poor this year, setting records and losing more games than they've lost in 25 years. And it just doesn't seem like, this team has been able to come together. They've missed the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years. And it sure seems like maybe this is the time that those guys will part, and Belichick will leave, and I guess it's always kind of a little bit worrisome, I think, for a player when a new regime comes in that didn't acquire you. Maybe they don't value you as much as the old regime did, but I guess it's just up in the air. We'll see how it all plays out, but I think this is probably a good thing for Rourke moving away from the Jags and getting another opportunity.
Oh, I think it's a great opportunity. I think it's a great thing for him, and all he has to do is just play well. He plays well, everything will fall into place. I think the young man just needs a chance.
Yeah,
just needs a chance.
I think you're right. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the Monday nighter. We had 2 teams coming in. Eagles, losers of 2 straight, haven't lost 3 in a row since Hurts has been there, but Hurts was sick. They actually put him on his own plane. He flew separate from the rest of the team to Seattle because they didn't want the rest of the team getting whatever sickness that he was afflicted with. And so there was a lot of speculation that he might not start. Marcus Mariota is there now and was doing first team reps and practice and stuff. But Jalen Hurts did start. Didn't seem to affect him much. He ran the very first play of the game, 13-yard run. He ended up getting their first touchdown. And he looks fairly decent right now. They are winning 17-10 with a little less than 5 minutes left in the third quarter. And unfortunately for the Seahawks, their quarterback, Geno Smith, couldn't play. He's been banged up. And so Drew Lock got the start there. And the Seahawks were also missing 2 of their key defensive backs, Jamal Adams and Tim Witherspoon, were both inactive today. So Seahawks were a little behind the 8 ball. Going in, they were already underdogs. It is in Seattle, so, it does help, and it's hard for a lot of the offenses to go there because it's so loud. But, unfortunate for the Seahawks that their QB couldn't go, and the Eagles could.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I believe Philadelphia will come out on top in this game, because if Hurts couldn't go and if you had Mariota going instead, I think Seahawks have a real valid chance of winning this game. But since Hurts is in there, I don't know if Seahawks can beat them with Hurts in there. Another funny thing I want to say is that it's funny how they traveled separately, right?
Yeah.
But they're willing to put super sick dude in with the rest of the team to play the game, and then he's sitting beside everybody. So it's like, we're willing to let everybody get sick after this game is done.
Yeah.
That's basically what we're trying to say.
Yeah,
Not before.
that is funny. Yeah, good point. Yeah, you would think that they would have just left him at home, but yeah, I guess let's not get everybody sick before the game, but after the game, oh, who cares?
Who cares? It's all good. All good.
He's showing his worth though. He's got a second touchdown of the game. He's been able to get both TDs for the Eagles. Kenneth Walker got the touchdown for the Seahawks, and it's 17-10. About 3 minutes left in the third quarter right now.
Okay, man, that's good. Hurts is doing what he needs to do to win this game, and he's kind of doing it on his own, which is even funnier.
I was a little angry at the Seahawks earlier in the game. They had marched it down into the red zone, got it down within the 10-yard line. Had a few plays that didn't quite get the yardage they needed. They were sitting at 4th and 4. I believe it was on about the 7-8 yard line, and they kept the offense on the field. They looked like they were going to go for it, which they should have. And they just tried to draw the Eagles offside. They went and kicked the field goal. I think it was as a pussy move. It was stupid. When you're trying to battle one of the best teams in the league, you got to score touchdowns, not kick field goals. I didn't like the move. They decided to kick the field goal, and they're still down by 7 points. I really think they needed to go for the jugular there, get the touchdown, and not just go for 3 points.
Yeah, I think that's because of the lack of confidence that they have in their backup quarterback.
Yeah.
That's why they didn't go for it.
Yeah, could have been, yeah. Pete Carroll has never lost to the Eagles. He is 7-0 in his career there for Seattle. 3-0 in Seattle. Seahawks against the Eagles, and in Pete Carroll's tenure. Jalen Hurts has never played the Seahawks in his career, though. This is the first time that he's ever facing this team. But I was pretty surprised to see that Pete Carroll's never lost to the Seahawks never lost to the Eagles with the Seahawks.
That is actually a surprising stat, but it makes sense that Hurts has never played them either. So there you go.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention, actually, when they didn't go for it in that red zone, the Eagles had allowed 10 straight touchdowns on red zone drives before that particular drive. They had faced some pretty tough teams that beat them, but 10 straight times. So the momentum was on the Seahawks side, and if I was in there, I would have made the call to get it in the end zone, not go for the field goal.
Yeah, because then it's kind of funny that the analytics guys didn't pounce all over that. It's like, oh no, man, you should be going for this.
Yeah.
And obviously, I guess Pete Carroll was just like, yeah, I don't feel it. No, we'll just take our 3 points.
Yeah. ESPN's analytics said go for it. That's what their computer told them, but they didn't. So we'll see if the Seahawks can come back and at least tie this one and force it to be a tight game. As I said, still down by 7 going into the fourth pretty soon here. Let's talk about the other team in the NFC East in second place now, the Cowboys and the Bills. This was supposed to be the game of the weekend. Everybody really looking forward to this one, and it really wasn't that close of a game at all. I couldn't believe the great play calling that the Bills utilized against Dallas. They were able to just run amok on them and just force them into trying to defend the run, and they just couldn't all game. Absolutely amazing career numbers for James Cook. 179 yards rushing and over 200 yards total. And this was Josh Allen's probably his worst game as a pro. Only completing 7 passes, didn't even have 100 yards passing, but they didn't need him. He was able to run one in and pass for one, but other than that, really didn't have to do much. Just hand the ball to Cook, a couple of their running backs, and yeah, beat the Cowboys handily.
Yeah, man, like their rushing attack was absolutely on point. So Josh Allen was just like, so I just take this game off, kind of. All right, okay, all right, coach. I don't have to pass. Good stuff. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, James was he was on fire, man. 25 carries, 179 yards, 1 touchdown. Then another 2 receptions, 42 yards, and another touchdown. Yeah, their rushing attack was absolutely destroyed the Cowboys. Took them out of their game, took them out of their element, and they couldn't recover.
Yeah. It looked like Dalvin Cook out there. Dalvin kicked the, reinvested. James was looking so phenomenal. Every single solitary time he touched the ball, he was just chalking up yardage. They got a touchdown from Latavius Murray, who didn't really have to do much. Stephon Diggs didn't have to do much. Ty Johnson, another guy out there, had a pretty decent running game. And yeah, I was really surprised, but it made a lot of sense. The Dallas Cowboys this year have been ahead of most teams, and so the teams haven't employed a rushing attack against them. They've been just always behind 14, 17, 21 points, so they've had to throw the ball, and Dallas has been able to really utilize that to their advantage. And their corners, their safeties, their linebacking core has been phenomenal, but they really haven't had a team just run the ball like that. And it was very, very smart, very, very smart strategy on Buffalo to get this really big win.
Yeah, no, it was incredibly smart strategy for the clock management, the control of the ball, running the football down their throat, and this not giving them a chance to actually ever be in this game.
Yeah. Buffalo still has a chance at the AFC East crown. They have some very winnable games against the Chargers and the Patriots, and then they play the Dolphins the week 18 last game. If they can win out, they win the division, and they'll get one of the top seeds, maybe even a bye in the conference. It's doable now. The Dolphins actually have a very tough schedule. They have to play the Ravens, Cowboys, and then they play the Bills. So yeah, it's definitely very doable, and a lot of people had really written off the Chiefs and the Bills, this year. And with this victory, they still have a really legitimate shot at winning this division and being one of those top seeds.
Yeah, because the other thing with Miami, I don't think Miami has a great record against the top tier teams.
No.
I don't think they have a great record at all. So, and with the fact that they're playing the Chargers with their second string quarterback in Easton Stick, I think his name is, Easton Stick, and then the Patriots with Bailey Zappi, you got to be licking your chops, saying, "All right, boys, I think we do this. We got ourselves a chance, a real chance."
The Bills beat the Dolphins in week 4, 40-20. So they beat them once this year. They know they can. So yeah, it's crazy. It's doable. You just sort of thought, a couple weeks ago that this was the Dolphins for sure. But yeah, the Bills have been able to come on, and Josh Allen has had a absolutely phenomenal year. He's really just racking up the touchdowns. If he didn't have so many turnovers, I think he'd be in that MVP conversation again. And I couldn't believe how great the Bills defense was as well. They had only allowed Dallas 92 total yards through the first 3 quarters. That was their fewest in 3 quarters since week 9 of 2010 against Green Bay. Dallas, though, is 7-0 at home and only 3-4 on the road this year. They're scoring 18 fewer points and allowing a lot more points per game on the road. I'm not sure why there's such a massive difference. Dallas is another one of those teams that's beating some really, really poor teams all through the season and not doing that well against better teams. And especially on the road, they're looking very ordinary, even below average.
Yeah, which is a problem for Dallas because once they hit the playoffs, they're going to be on the road. And That's not good. That's not good. That's something that they'll definitely need to fix because, yeah, well, playing in Dallas is awesome because that whole stadium is fantastic. So
Yeah.
I get that. I understand that.
Josh Allen got his 49th rushing touchdown of his career. That's second all time. Cam Newton's got the record pretty far out of reach right now, 75. So Josh Allen has 26 more to just even tie him. Josh is second. Steve Young is third with 43 rushing touchdowns. And Allen, yeah, he just has so many games with one rushing touchdown, passing touchdown. He's just one of those dual threats all the time. It's pretty incredible. And Buffalo, as I say, they go play the Chargers, and that's a Saturday game at 5 p.m. Pacific kickoff. And Cowboys go to Miami to play the Dolphins, and that's on Christmas Eve, 1:25 kickoff time. Do we have any more of an update with the game? Still looks like late in the third, 17-10 here. Philadelphia hosts the Giants on Monday, which is Christmas Day, the 1:30 kickoff. Seahawks go to the Titans on Sunday, Christmas Eve. That's 10 a.m. kickoff there. Okay, let's turn to the Giants in the NFC East. They were easily handled by the New Orleans Saints, 24-6. This game was Derek Carr just engineering really amazing scoring drives right away. Couple touchdown passes, and the Saints improved to 7-7. Giants fell to 5-9. Giants had won 3 in a row coming in, and this Tommy DeVito was the new guy, his agent. Everybody was loving him, and he fell back to earth. Him and his cutlets and all the crazy amount of press that him and his agent were getting fell on some hard times there. Saquon Barkley too. Man, he had a rough game. 9 carries for 14 yards. 1.6 average. Yeah, I haven't seen Saquon shut down that badly, maybe ever. And yeah, this team, Giants, just had a pretty rough day.
Yeah, no, they had a pretty rough day because at the end of the day, they're not very good. And when you can key on their best offensive player, like any team would, and be like, if we stop that dude, we stop their offense.
We're gonna get, yeah.
So let's just stop Barkley from rushing. And that's all they got to do. Like, it sucks because the Giants are clearly deficient in like their offensive talent.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah. Saints Alvin Kamara had a great game, over 100 yards, 66 on the ground, 44 through the air. The touchdowns were from Juwan Johnson, Jimmy Graham, and Keith Kirkwood. Derek Carr looked great, had a phenomenal day. And even though Chris Olave, their best receiver, was out, they were able to get a pretty easy victory over the Giants there. The Giants go to Philly, as I mentioned, play the Eagles. Saints go to the Rams, and that's the Thursday nighter. Both teams are 7-7 coming in, so very big playoff implications on that Thursday nighter.
No, that's a big game. That's a big game for both teams, and it should be a very good game because I think they're both evenly matched.
Yeah. Speaking of the Rams, they were able to handle the Commanders. They won 28-20, finally reaching 500 for the year and putting themselves in a playoff position. Kyron Williams was huge for them. Stafford, Cooper Kupp played great, got the win, but wow, Kyron had 152 yards on the ground and got a touchdown there. Cooper Kupp with a big 62-yard TD himself. Demarcus Robinson had a nice 23-yard TD catch. Puka Nacua contributed as well. The only thing that kept this game, I think, close was a couple of lost fumbles that LA had, but they racked up 445 total yards, 250 passing, and almost 200 rushing. So yeah, great game from them. I think, as I said, those fumbles really helped keep the Commanders in it. Sam Howell was benched for sort of inept play. Jacoby Brissett came in and threw a couple touchdowns in relief, but they were stymied right at the end. They weren't able to pull off the comeback win. They got a couple touchdowns late to make it interesting, but couldn't quite come all the way back.
Yeah, exactly. Like Brissett came in after Howell was benched, and he made it close. He tried his best, but it just wasn't good enough. I was shocked at at the defensive misplay by the Commanders when Kupp had his 62-yard catch.
Oh, man.
So it's just like I'm watching the play and go, where is everybody?
Yeah.
That's the one dude you don't leave wide open. You just
Wow.
don't leave that guy wide open. So if you play like that, I'm sorry, man, but that's how you lose games.
Yeah, that was nuts. Yeah, man, that was the most wide open I've ever seen him, and yeah, you can't let that weapon go unchecked like that. That was crazy. Scary Terry McLaurin had a phenomenal game, 140 yards through the air and a touchdown. Curtis Samuel had a couple of touchdowns, and Commanders did well, but yeah, I think falling on tough times. One of those teams that did get eliminated on Sunday, 4-10 record now. They play against the New York Jets, who also were eliminated from the playoffs. They play on Christmas Eve, 10 a.m. Not a game that most people are going to tune in for two teams that are out of the playoffs and sitting near the bottom of the league. And as I mentioned earlier, the Rams host the Saints, and that's that Thursday game. So looking forward to that for sure. Okay, let's turn to the NFC West, and the 49ers were able to get kind of an easy opponent in the Arizona Cardinals. 49ers came in 11-2, and Cardinals were 11 10. They were 10-3, and the Cardinals were 3-10. Now the 49ers with the 45-29 win are 11-3. Cardinals fall to 3-11. Oh my God, what a phenomenal game from McCaffrey, who had 3 touchdowns. Purdy threw for 4, and Debo got into the mix with 2 touchdowns himself. These weapons, poor Arizona, no chance in this one. This was a very big beatdown, 45 points. And man, the 49ers are fun to watch when they're firing on all cylinders like they were on Sunday.
I'll give the Cardinals this. They scored 29 points. I was impressed. I was like, oh, you put some points on the board. Not nearly enough to win the game, but you put some points on the board. And again, when the 49ers have all their weapons, what are you going to do? Like, you're literally helpless.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Ward catches intercepts that ball for a pick 6.
Yeah.
And then so when the defense gets into the mix and scores touchdowns as well, you have no shot of winning.
Yeah.
None. 0.
Yeah, it was incredible. Yeah, it's just wild to watch that team. Christian McCaffrey also had a touchdown where he was wide open. He fell and then got up, looked around. Holy cow, he made it into somehow blown coverage there. But Brock Purdy is the odds-on favorite right now to win the MVP of the NFL after being Mr. Irrelevant and the very last pick a couple of seasons ago. It's incredible what he's been able to do, and he must just thank his lucky stars every single night when he goes to bed, because he's got the weapons that he has, and he can shine with what they've been able to assemble.
Yeah, or he must be like, you know what? It's kind of weird, but my career trajectory is following a certain guy right now. If I can just keep up with him, I think I'm going to be pretty good. That would be Tom Brady. That's who I'm talking about. So if I can just keep doing what he did, I got better weapons, by the way.
Yeah, true. Yeah. He does. Yeah. Hands down, he has better weapons for sure. So, as I mentioned, Niners 11-3 leading the division. Rams are second right now in the division at 7-7. Seahawks going in tonight, 6-7 in third place. If they can pull off the upset against the Eagles, 7-7 as well. And the Cards down at the bottom, 3-11. 49ers host the Ravens. I think this is the game of the weekend coming up. This is on Christmas Day, 5:15 kickoff. I'm super pumped and excited to see these two Titans face each other. I think these are definitely two of the top teams in the league, both 11-3 going in. This should be one of the games of the year.
Oh yeah, man. Like I'm super excited. These are two of the top teams in the NFL going at it. It's going to be epic. It's going to be awesome. Awesome game to watch.
Yeah. Another game that you could probably take a pass on. The Cardinals head to the Windy City, play the Bears. Both teams have been eliminated. That is Sunday, 1:25 kickoff there. Okay, NFC North. You mentioned the Lions earlier as one of those teams that people should be very aware of. They're leading the NFC North with a 10-4 record. Vikings are second at 7-7. Packers are third at 6-8, and the Bears are last at 5-9. The Lions were able to stomp on the Broncos 42-17. Your guy, Sam Laporta, 3 touchdown catches, a 19-yarder, a 3-yarder, and a 10-yard catch. Jared Goff, 5 TD passes. And speaking of weapons, he's got some very phenomenal weapons there. Amon-Ra St. Brown had another phenomenal game, over 100 yards with a touchdown, and Jahmyr Gibbs had a couple of touchdowns himself, one on the ground, one through the air. This team is very, very stacked offensively, and they showed their muscles on this game against the Broncos.
Oh, they flexed on them. They flexed on them big time, and they got off to a great start, and they just never let their foot off the gas.
Yeah.
And Goff was absolutely amazing. 24 of 34, 278 yards with the 5 touchdowns, no picks. You are not going to win any games if you're going to let that guy just go off like that.
Yeah.
And for Russell Wilson, yeah, not good enough.
No.
18 of 32, 223, a touchdown. Oh, great. Awesome. Could you give us any more, Russell? No, you can't? Oh, okay, then.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, the Broncos, this was their definitely their second worst defensive performance, and yeah, they weren't able to get much going offensively. Yeah, not really. We don't really have to mention too many of the other guys in this game. It was definitely Lions all the way. Lions go to Minnesota to play the Vikings on Sunday. That's the early window, and the Broncos host the Patriots. That's the Sunday nighter. Broncos should win against the Patriots. Unless Nathan Rourke's in there, maybe he'll pull off a Josh Dobbs thing, and he won't even know his teammates, but he'll be able to pull off a victory.
No, that would be awesome. It's like, yeah, I don't know any of the plays, but I'm just gonna wing it. See how it goes.
Yeah, as I mentioned, Lions play the Vikings. The Vikings had a really tight game against the Bengals. This was on Saturday. Bengals ended up pulling off the 27-24 victory in overtime. Evan McPherson hit a 29-yard field goal, his second of the game. And Bengals, as I said earlier, Jake Browning, it just keeps going. He was able to outduel Nick Mullins. And I thought this game was hilarious. They're really getting into showing people's families. They showed Taylor Swift so much with Kelsey and the Chiefs. They just kept showing whenever the Vikings would do anything, they were showing Nick Mullins' wife and his kid. And then anytime that Browning was doing anything, they were showing him and all his entourage in the luxury suite there. And I can't believe how much airtime both sides got. At one point, Nick Mullins' kid had just given up, and he was just watching some iPad or something, and he was kind of like not focusing on the game. And then Mullins threw a nice TD pass, and the wife started jumping around. She's quite pregnant too. She started jumping around, and all of a sudden his little kid was like, "Oh, what did I miss? Oh, what did I miss?" And so he kept watching a bit, and it's hilarious how often they just showing the families these days in the crowd.
Well, you know what? I think that might be a Taylor Swift thing. I think that's part of her gravity, which is it's like people want to know what's going on with like the people on the field and their significant others, I guess, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And then plus on top of that, that's good play. That's good airplay for Mullins and Browning because we don't know anything about these two people,
Right. Yeah.
right? We know
Yeah.
nothing about them, and normally that would never happen. But since they don't have a choice, and who else are we going to focus in on? We might as well focus in on these two dudes. All right, let's do
Yeah,
that.
I guess so. Yeah, yeah. It was hilarious to watch. Speaking of Taylor Swift, there was a there was a throw into the end zone. Kelsey was trying to catch a pass. He got a little bit bumped and he did this hilarious flop, and she jumped up. I don't think she noticed that he was acting, and you could see very very vividly she said fuck and they blurred out her mouth on most of the broadcasts that I've seen since on the highlight shows because she dropped the F-bomb there. And a couple of people said, no, she was just yelling flag. And I'm like, no, she wasn't.
No, she was
No, she was definitely not yelling flag.
not.
But it was hilarious how many newscasts and sportscasts and everything I've seen just showing her flipping out. And Kelsey was definitely not going to catch the ball. He just purposely did this acting and
Yeah.
fell down. The ref didn't fall for it and didn't call the flag. It was hilarious.
No, yeah, no, I saw that, and it was quite funny. His acting obviously was really good because he tricked her
Yeah,
real
true.
good.
True,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, she was a believer that he got he pass interference against him, but definitely was not. But look at Browning's numbers: 324 yards, couple of touchdowns. He's not got Jamar Chase the entire game because Jamar ended up separating his shoulder, had to leave early. But T. Higgins, as I mentioned, that amazing touchdown early. He got two touchdowns on the day. Tyler Boyd is great. Tanner Hudson. Really, Joe Mixon's incredible. They had BJ Hill and Mike Hilton both got a pick each of Nick Mullins. And yeah, huge win for the Bengals. 8-6 now, dropping the Vikings down to 7-7.
Yeah, it's a great win, big win. And they came back to win this game. And
Yeah.
Browning is it's been impressive, man. Like for a guy to just come out of nowhere and be like, oh, Burrows is hurt. It's my time to shine. And he's been shining. He's been doing
Sure
very,
has.
very
Yeah.
well.
I did also want to mention Canadian Chase Brown. He finally got an opportunity there. He had 7 carries for 23 yards and 3 catches for 28 yards. He's a 5th-round pick in this year's draft out of London, Ontario. Nice to see him getting in the mix and finally getting a bit of an opportunity there.
Yeah, no, it's great to see him contribute and contribute well.
Mullins had a decent day with over 300 yards passing, a couple TDs. Those picks really hurt though. Ty Chandler was phenomenal with 23 carries, 132 yards on the ground with a touchdown, another 25 through the air. Addison, another phenomenal game from him. He made 2 spectacular catches. The one that was off his shoe tops right on the top of the turf there and ran for the touchdown. That was an absolutely phenomenal catch. And this guy is really emerging as one of the top receivers in the NFL.
Yeah, he's really stepped up with not having Justin Jefferson there. Like he needed to step up, and he has done that. So he's been playing very, very well.
As I mentioned, the Vikings host the Lions Sunday, Christmas Eve, early window. And the Bengals go to the Steelers, and that's Saturday, 1:30 Pacific kickoff time, 4:30 Eastern time. Okay, this you mentioned the Bucs as a team that you think is going to win this division. They have been able to really come together, and in Baker we trust. I think this was Baker's best game in his career. He had 381 yards passing and 4 touchdowns, almost a perfect day, and absolutely really coming into his own. He has weapons that he utilizes as well, and the Bucs get the big 34-20 win over the Packers.
Yeah, in Baker we trust. He missed 6 passes in this game.
Yeah.
22 of 28, highly efficient. Like you said, 4 touchdowns for 381. His favorite target was Godwin, was 10 receptions and 155 yards. Managed to hit Evans for a touchdown. He got 57 yards. Even even mixed in there with his running back White, got a touchdown through the air, 2 receptions, 50 yards, man. He was on point. He was super on point. Yeah. Very impressive win.
Yeah, Godwin had the most yardage by any receiver on the weekend, 155. Evans got his touchdown. It was his 97th of his career. That tied him with Rob Gronkowski and Devontae Adams. Adams obviously still out there competing, but not getting as many touchdowns in the Raiders system as he was with Green Bay. And Evans getting close to that century mark with TDs. Very decorated career and kind of flies under the radar because he's not much of a talker. That's pretty impressive that that incredible Hall of Fame career by Gronkowski, he's matched it already.
Yeah, it is absolutely incredible. And the fact that it's like you said, he's not a self-promoter. He just goes out there and plays the game, plays it well.
Yeah. Jordan Love, still a pretty decent game, but just not enough weapons there. Dontavian Wicks is his top guy, huh? Tucker Kraft. A lot of guys that aren't very well known. Aaron Jones had a half decent game, but didn't get the ball enough. And the Packers go to the Carolina Panthers. They play Christmas Eve in the early window there. Should be a victory there. They'll be able to get their 7th win probably. And the Bucks host the Jags. That's on Sunday, Christmas Eve, and that's a 1:05 kickoff there. Okay, the Browns and the Bears. The Browns had a lot more trouble than I expected with the Bears. The OTC, Joe Flacco, had another incredible day. 200 yards passing in the 4th quarter to help them get the comeback victory. They were down 17-7, pulled out the 20-17 win. The 200 yards passing for Flacco was the most by a Browns quarterback in 45 years in the 4th quarter. 45 years. Off the couch, Flacco was able to pull it off and get the big one.
I will say this. Thank goodness they were playing the Bears, because he did have 3 picks, and I'm going to say this. If it was any other team, they probably don't win this game.
True.
They don't win this game.
Yeah.
But I will also give Flacco his credit, because he did pass for 200 yards in the 4th quarter and was instrumental in the Browns win.
Okay, this blew me away when I saw this. Okay, do you know who has the most playoff road wins in NFL history as a quarterback?
Okay, you're saying this because it's the Browns quarterback, right?
There's 2 guys tied for the all-time mark. One guy is obvious, and the other guy not so much.
Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna throw this name out there. Bernie Kosar? No.
Joe Flacco has the most.
What?
He is tied with Tom Brady for the most road playoff wins in NFL history. Most road playoff wins in NFL history. Joe Flacco and Tom Brady have the record right now with 7 road playoff wins. Isn't that incredible?
That's ridiculous, because you're saying Joe Flacco and Tom Brady are synonymous in one category together. I would never have thought that. Ever.
No. Amazing. Yeah, I was blown away by that when I saw that over the weekend. Justin Fields almost pulled off an absolute miraculous Hail Mary.
Yes.
He passed it down into the end zone. It fell off a couple of players, and it dropped right into Darnell Mooney's chest.
Yes.
And somehow he didn't catch it. Man, so brutal. I can't believe that he didn't get it. It was just perfectly to him. And it just fell right into his chest, into his hands. And somehow he fumbled it off, and they lose. They could have won this game easily, and if he just catches that ball.
Yeah, because I remember seeing the throw, and I'm like, no, what? That's a pretty good throw. That's what I thought. I'm like, that's a pretty good throw. And then it ping-ponged off a couple people, and then it's like, and then Mooney, for whatever reason, was already falling back. And I'm like, oh, he dropped it.
Yeah, typical Bears, eh? Typical Bears. Holy crap. They just can't buy a break, and they can't do it. Poor Justin Fields. going to be tough there. I don't know what the Bears are going to do. I don't know if they're going to get one of these top QBs coming out of college, or they're going to get that. They got that number 1 overall pick almost guaranteed. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Flacco, 374 yards passing, couple touchdowns. But you're right, those 3 picks against a tougher opponent, they would have lost that game. But luckily, they were playing the Bears. Chicago hosts the Cardinals on Sunday. That's Christmas Eve, 1:25. The Browns go to the Texans, and that's also on Sunday, and that's the early window, 10 a.m. there. What the hell happened to your Falcons? Now we're going to switch to the NFC South. They lost to the Panthers. Brutal. I don't know what the heck's going on. Desmond Ridder had a terrible game. This game was a dog. There's been some dogs this year, but this one was brutal. Eddie Pinheiro, the hero there, he got his 3rd field goal late, a 23-yarder as time expired to give the Panthers their 2nd victory over the year. And Falcons were in first place in their division a couple weeks ago, and now they've fallen down, sitting in 3rd place in the division, and things are looking bleak there when you're losing to the Panthers.
I maybe they just wanted Bryce Young to get some confidence back. It's like, oh man, this guy's had it rough, so we're just gonna gift you this game. We're gonna give it to you, man.
No.
I watched the highlights of this game, and I'm just like, this is pathetic. This is just there was nothing positive that I could draw from for the Falcons in this game.
It's rough there. I'm shocked that they've fallen this badly, and they're looking pretty tough. It was pretty brutal conditions. The rain was coming down heavily, but Bryce Young ended up engineering a 93-yard drive that led to that game-winning field goal. Was able to really pull off the win. That Desmond Ridder had a second quarter touchdown to Cordell Patterson, but his pick in the red zone in the second quarter, man, huge mistake, and I really contributed to the loss here. And I don't even want to talk more about this dog game. It was brutal. The Falcons host the Colts on Sunday, and that's the early window. And the Panthers host the Packers. And that's all I want to talk about that. Turning to the AFC now, we always start with the AFC East. The Dolphins, as I mentioned earlier, they're 10-4. Bills are 8-6 in second. Jets have fallen to 5-9, and the Pats are 3-11. Both the Jets and the Pats have been eliminated from the playoffs. The Dolphins were easily able to stomp on the Jets 30-0. Tyreek Hill wasn't able to play, but they didn't need him. And I think maybe that's one of the main reasons why they just said sit out. He looked not bad on the field, as warming up, and I think he probably could have gone if it was a bit of a stiffer test, but they didn't need him. Jalen Waddle filled in fine for him, and they got this easy one.
Yeah, because I think they looked and said, who's the Jets quarterback today? Trevor Siemian. Yeah, Hill, you just take a breather. You're good. You're good. All right. Yeah, man. Like the Dolphins didn't have they had no worries in this game whatsoever. To only miss 3 passes, threw 4 touchdowns, 224 yards. Mostert ran for 2 touchdowns himself, and Waddle was awesome. 8 receptions, 142 yards and a touchdown. Dolphins had it easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Raheem Mostert set a Dolphins record with his 19th touchdown of the season. He got one later, and he's got 20 now. That is more than the entire Jets team. The Jets team has scored 16 touchdowns this season, and Mostert has 20. So this was not a fair fight. The matchmakers, I guess they have to play each other because it's a divisional battle, but this would have been one of those ones that if it was a UFC battle, we would have just said no, don't put these two against each other. This is a total mismatch.
No, if it was a UFC battle, it would just be one guy going in and doing what Josh Emmett did to Bryce Mitchell. Hey, I'm over.
Yeah.
No.
Unfortunately, it really seems like the Aaron Rodgers comeback is all for naught with the Jets being eliminated. I don't even know if you really want them in there because
No,
their
absolutely not.
offensive line is terrible. Zach Wilson was taken out with a concussion again, and Simeon ended up playing because of that. Rodgers was on the sideline there and looking like he could go, but I think it would be a mistake putting him in there with the shape of the offensive line and the protection that he could afford.
Well, like what's there to gain from this?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. What's there to lose? You could have him injured again.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Yeah, that
No.
would be brutal. Yeah. He's the fifth. Mostert is the fifth player all time to score to be 30 plus years old and get 20 touchdowns in a season. So he's doing things that's not normally done after you're 30. A lot of times 30 is that magic number for running backs where the decline is really fast and brutal, and only the fifth player all time to get 20 touchdowns.
That's
That age.
kind of surprising when you consider all the great running backs that you've had in the NFL over the years, that he's only the fifth one to ever do that, which is absolutely awesome for him to have done that, because that just shows his perseverance and his durability in the NFL.
And in 14 games of 20 touchdowns is incredible. The Jets have now been eliminated. This is their 13th straight season without playoffs, and that is a North American Pro current active record for the longest streak without the playoffs. Basketball, football, baseball, hockey, no team has went 13 years without the playoffs now, and the Jets have fallen on hard times, and it's like, okay, hopefully next year Aaron Rodgers gets back to 100% and run this back. This was a complete wasted year for them.
Yep, it sure was. And hopefully they better pray that this doesn't happen again to Aaron Rodgers in the beginning of next year, where he gets injured again. So I hope I actually I just didn't jinx them by saying that out loud. I hope I didn't do that to them, because they need that dude to be healthy for the entirety of the year for them to even have a shot at the playoffs next year.
Yeah. There was some footage of Rodgers standing on the sideline. There was somebody was taking a shot from behind on maybe somebody in the stands with the camera phone, and he kept standing up on his toes and flexing and getting up on his tiptoes and flexing. And yeah, I was quite surprised how, it seems like he's been able to fully recover from it, but brutal that they couldn't keep it together enough so that he could make this comeback and at least play some meaningful games at the end of the year. It's just horrible that they weren't able to sort it out, make some trades, plug those holes, get some offensive line help. Hopefully in the offseason, that's their number one priority, and they really get some top offensive linemen that can really help protect him and lead this team to the playoffs. What a long drought for these Jets fans.
Yeah, it's just painful. It's so painful. 13 years. 13. Like, if you think about that, the 13 years, how long that is, and that nobody else has ever done that. No other team except for you.
Yeah.
You're in an era of futility.
Brutal.
Congratulations. Way to go.
Sad. The Jets host the Commanders Sunday, as I mentioned earlier. That's the Christmas Eve. Dolphins host the Cowboys Sunday, 1:25. That should be a great game. Even though the Cowboys are playing pretty terrible on the road, I think this game should be pretty competitive, and I look forward to seeing the Dolphins-Cowboys game.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a great game. That should be a very competitive game, and I believe Tyreek Hill probably should be playing in that game.
Yeah, I think he will. Yeah. Okay, let's turn to the Chiefs and the Patriots. This was a battle of two of the most winningest coaches in NFL history. Bill Belichick came in with 301 wins. Andy Reid with 255. Bill is number 3 on the list. Andy's number 4. The most wins of head coaching history has Don Shula at 328, George Halas at 318. Belichick has 301, still chasing it. Reid ended up getting his 256 win with a 27-17 win over the Patriots. Patrick Mahomes had never lost 3 in a row in his career. 2 straight losses coming in. 93 starts without a 3-game losing streak. That's the 3rd longest to start a career since 1950. And he wasn't about to lose this game, even though they have the most drops in the NFL, 32. He can't count on many of the players that he's got. 2 of the picks, I think, were the fault of the receivers, not Mahomes' fault. But they were able to win because the Patriots are pretty bad.
Yeah. Like I feel bad for Mahomes, where he's just like, the only person I can really count on is Travis Kelce. Awesome. This is great. And I believe Kelce actually somewhat got hurt. I think he hurt his elbow and stuff like that. So I hope he's good to go for the next game, because with their receiving core, man, it's unfortunate, but you really can't count on these guys.
Yeah.
Like they're a liability out there, So, but Mahomes is Mahomes. He found a way.
Yeah.
Even though it's like, it's on you guys. Those 2 picks, not my fault.
No.
Get the damn ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He was mad. He's been very mad and frustrated at the end of the last couple of games, and he's getting really quite ticked off at the lack of help he's getting there. His 1 touchdown to Clyde Edwards-Helaire was phenomenal. The guy's only 5'7", but his vertical was like way up there. He was able to snag the ball, the back of the end zone there. That was a phenomenal catch. You're not going to be able to count on your running backs to be able to get into the end zone and catch balls like that very often, but that was phenomenal. And then the other thing that jumps out for me was Jerick McKinnon, their backup running back. He only had 4 carries in the game, but he threw a touchdown and he caught a touchdown. So I think maybe the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs is like, okay, we don't have any wideouts that we can count on. We got a good tight end, but maybe our running backs will be the guys that can throw and catch touchdowns now. And to see those guys both get the touchdown catches and even throwing one for McKinnon, pretty wild to see the new wrinkle in their offensive scheme and game plan.
Yeah, no, it was awesome to see, to be honest with you. And maybe now going forward, Mahomes is just like, I'm just going to pass to the running backs, man. You guys, I'm going to pass to you less. Kelce, if you're around, obviously, you're getting the ball. But you running backs, you're my new targets.
You're the guys, yeah. I like Rashee Rice. I think he's pretty decent, but everybody else is, lacking big time. Bailey Zappi, we mentioned him earlier. Yeah, it's time to end that experiment too. Get Nathan Rourke in there. Let him pull off a Josh Dobbs thing, and it'll be fun to watch his last few games of the year and the last few games of the Hoodie's career. Hopefully in New England, he'll have to move on and become a nicer human being, maybe.
No, man. He doesn't know what that means. So no, that's never going
to happen. Yeah, probably not. The Chiefs host the Raiders. That's on Christmas Day, Monday at 10 a.m. The Patriots travel to Mile High and play Denver, and that's 5:15 on the Sunday. Okay. Now we got to harken back to way back on Thursday. This was a historic game. The Raiders ended up getting the highest scoring game of their franchise's history by demolishing the LA Chargers 63-21. This game was great for Chargers fans because we finally got rid of the regime that we've wanted to be rid of for a long time. GM Tom Telesco and Brandon Staley, head coach, have finally walked the plank. Maybe like 10 months, maybe 11 months, later than they should have. after that collapse against Jacksonville in the playoffs last year, losing a 28-point lead and losing, though they should have been gone then. This entire season was lost because you didn't make that move, but this beatdown finally put the nail in the coffin of both guys and made Raiders fans pretty happy. 63-21, crazy game, and I'm glad. I actually didn't get a chance to watch this game live, and I'm super glad because I might have had to go buy a new TV because it would have been pretty rough to watch them get beat that bad.
You know what? What I was happy about was the 42-0 at halftime, where I'm like, you can't put a better bow on it than that. That's the bow to say,
Yeah.
by the way, I've never deserved this team, and here's why.
Yeah. No,
You know,
yeah.
but the one thing I do want to say, the one amazing play that stood out after this beatdown was Jones' amazing pick six, where he gets the play and one-handed it and was just like, yeah, thanks, buddy. It's like beatdown. Successful.
That was spectacular. Yeah, that was one of the highlights of the weekend for sure, or the week. And unreal pick six. Absolutely amazing. The Chargers have lost 5 of their last 6, have fallen to last place in the AFC West. Chiefs are number 1, 9-5. Broncos number 2, 7-7. Raiders third place, 6-8, and Chargers 5-9. Giff Smith will now take over as interim head coach. Jojo Wooden will take over interim GM. Smith was the outside linebackers coach. He's been with the Chargers 8 seasons, so he knows them well. And Wooden was the director of player personnel. He's entering his 11th year with this franchise. Under Telesco, they were 86-95 and only made the playoffs 3 times in his entire career. Under Staley, 24-25 and very, very, very badly underperformed. This was a defensive guy, and his swan song was allowing 63 points in his final game. I think he better go back to the drawing board. He was the defensive guy with the LA Rams and helped them win a Super Bowl, but the talent level, I guess, was pretty massive there, and somehow he lost his ability to run a proper defense. And I think we're all happy that it happened. It's too bad it had to happen in such an embarrassing fashion, but I guess it just had to be that way.
Yeah, it had to be that way because he was a defensive guy. They didn't play any defense.
Yeah.
You can't win doing that. I think he's now realized that after 63-0. And on top of that, if I'm any other organization looking for a head coach, I'm like, not that guy.
No,
not that guy. Even if he's a defensive specialist, I'd be like, well, 63 points? I don't think so. No, I don't.
No, that was I think that might have signaled the end of his being a defensive coach for a while. That's embarrassing and super brutal and not good at all. This game also made some history. I really want to make mention of this. This was the first ever all black on the field and replay officiating crew. So every official on the field and in the booth in the replay, it was all black officials, and 3 women were included in this. It's pretty incredible that they were able to make this work, and I think it should be definitely recognized as a very historic, great moment for the NFL.
No, that's fantastic. It's great. It's good to see. It's good to see that these changes are coming about in the NFL and they're accepting it into their culture with arms wide open.
I love it. I see. What do I see? 8, 10, 9 officials all together. Great picture here. I'm gonna post it on the website. And I was just trying to see I had the name of the head referee somewhere, but I can't seem to find it, so I'll have to post that as well. Boger, his last name is Boger, but I can't Sorry about this. Oh, Jerome Boger. He's been a longtime referee around the league. He headed up the crew. In 2006, Boger became just the third black referee in league history. And the first black referee in league history was Johnny Greer in 1988. And Burl Toller was the first black head linesman in 1965. He was the first black game official in any major professional sports league. So he was breaking down barriers back then. So yeah, as I said, let's post it on the website. I'll show you the really nice picture they have of them all before the game. It was yeah, very historic. So two historic moments in that game, and yeah, great that the Chargers are moving on. We'll see if these two that are taking over the roles interim will be in place as the new year hits. But it was this team needed a regime change. Everybody knew it, and it's good it finally happened.
By the way, it wasn't two historic moments; it was three historic moments. The third being that Staley's gone, and then all of a sudden the Chargers' opportunities and fortunes changed on that day.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, three historic moments, and you're very right. Huge upset in the making. The Seahawks have taken a 20-17 lead. Jackson Smith and Jigba got a 29-yard touchdown pass from Drew Lock. And Jason Myers had kicked a 42-yard field goal earlier in the fourth quarter. This is down to the last 30 seconds in the game, and the Seahawks are up by 3. Insane.
It is. It's I guess them going for that field goal was the right move. No, when you said that, I actually have the score, and I went, no, what's going on? They're going to win this game?
Yeah. Unreal, hey?
Yeah.
Unreal. Wow. Yeah, the Eagles are letting a huge opportunity slip through the fingers, and
that's not good.
Yeah, this is insane. Yeah. Dallas has a lot harder run. Again, the Eagles have an easier schedule going down the stretch here, but this puts them back into both at 10-4 and gives the Dallas still a legitimate shot to win the division themselves. So this could be a really bad loss for the Eagles.
Yeah, it could be. It could very well be. And unfortunately, Hurts is not feeling at his best, and maybe that contributed to it. But at the same time, this is a game that they should have won.
Yeah. Okay, we just got a couple of games to finish off. Let's talk about the Ravens-Jags. That was a Sunday nighter last night. AFC North, Ravens are leading the division at 11-3 now. The Browns are 9-5 in second. Bengals are 8-6, and the Steelers are 7-7. All 4 teams 500 or better. This was Lamar Jackson having another great game with 171 yards through the air, 97 on the ground. This is his 23rd game with at least 75 yards rushing, at least 1 touchdown pass, and that's 10 more than any other quarterback in NFL history. It's the 12th time Baltimore. This is the 12th time he's been able to get a touchdown pass and a rushing pass. And yeah, this is a guy that Baltimore fought quite a bit in this offseason. He went on to the possibility of anybody signing him. Anybody had an opportunity to sign him, and nobody did. And he's emerging as a really stiff contender for MVP of the league this year. The Ravens could end up with the best record in the league, and yeah, they're humming along. Really big 23-7 victory over the Jags on Sunday.
Yeah, and it's a good thing that everybody passed on Lamar Jackson, because what a bum. Garbage, right?
Unreal, eh?
Utter garbage. No, what are you doing? He's so good. And the fact that how they controlled the Jags in this game with their rushing attack, and they ran roughshod over them the whole entire game. Because Mitchell, 9 carries, 73 yards. Edwards, 16 carries, 58 yards, and a touchdown. And then obviously you already mentioned Lamar with 97 yards, 12 carries. So the Ravens controlled this game from start to finish.
This was the 12th time in the Lamar Jackson era that they've had more than 250 yards rushing. No team has had more than 5 of those rushing types of games. 12th time in the Lamar Jackson era. The only thing that went terrible for the Ravens was Keaton Mitchell suffered an ACL tear to his knee, and he's gone for the season. He had already racked up 73 yards on the ground himself, and then unfortunately suffered the injury. Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, and Melvin Gordon will have to handle the load. They've already had some really tough injuries this year with J.K. Dobbins tearing his ACL, Mark Andrews breaking his leg and going down, and they've been able to weather the storm so far, but this is quite the blow. Keaton has had a really good year.
Yeah, Keaton was having a great year, and another offensive weapon is down, but somehow, some way, the Ravens keep on chugging.
Yeah. The Jags didn't have a great day, and especially with Trevor Lawrence. He suffered a concussion, and good chance that he will not play this coming Sunday. This is the second injury he's had in the past couple of weeks, and I think that they're going to be cautious with him. Most of the quarterbacks that are getting a concussion, they're not being able to get out of protocol. That same week, they're usually having to sit out a week and come back in a week after. The Jags go to the Bucks on Christmas Eve. I think that CJ Beathard will be in there. Unfortunately, Nathan Rourke won't be there now. I'm not sure who they'll be able to call up to be the backup.
Yeah, that sucks for the Jags that they lost Nathan Rourke, but that was the path that they chose. So there you have it. And hopefully Lawrence will be back, not obviously this week coming up, but the next week after that.
Yeah. As I mentioned, the Ravens go to the 49ers. That's 1 week tonight. That's 5:15 kickoff, Christmas Day, and the Jags go to the Bucks. Okay, AFC North, Colts, a very big win, 30-17 over the Steelers. Colts improved to 8-6. Steelers fall to 7-7. Gardner Minshew had a great game, but the running game really took over. As I mentioned earlier, they were able to get 30 unanswered points after the Steelers were up 13-0. Jonathan Taylor didn't play. Zach Moss got hurt, but they still had Trey Sermon have 88 yards. Tyler Goodson had 69, and TDs did come from Moss, Montgomery, and Mo Alley Cox, and a really, really nice victory for the Colts here.
Yeah, nice victory for the Colts, and Pittman added 4 receptions for 78 yards to contribute to the win. And Minshew, no picks, but I'm sorry, Steelers fans, but in Trubisky, you should never trust.
Yeah.
Never trust at all.
Mike Tomlin made the announcement today that Mason Rudolph is their starting quarterback next week. He doesn't trust Trubisky, and Mason came in at the very end. He will be their starting quarterback going forward. I don't know if that's a big upgrade, but we'll see how it plays out. The Steelers were dealt a bit of a blow. DeMonte Casey was suspended for the remainder of the season after getting an ejection from a hit on Michael Pittman. He is a repeat offender. He's had unnecessary roughness penalties quite a bit this year. He had one in week 2, week 7, 2 in week 8, and 1 in week 12. Fined every one of those weeks. And finally, they just said, no, enough's enough. That's it. You're gone. He will not be able to play the rest of the regular season or the playoffs. Him and his agent said they will appeal this, but as of now, he is not going to be playing the rest of the year. And he just wasn't learning from the repeated fines and ejections. And penalties that he was occurring, and Michael Pittman is now in concussion protocol because of this hit.
Yeah, it was a bad hit. I remember seeing the hit, and I'm like, oh man, you can't hit like that anymore.
Yeah.
That's not the way the game is played. And if you refuse to play the game the right way, this is what the league has to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough, but that's the way it goes. Minkah Fitzpatrick is out with the knee injury also, so that's another blow with the Steelers. Steelers have never been less than 500 under Mike Tomlin. These two things with Mason Rudolph now might put that in jeopardy. The Steelers host the Bengals in an AFC North battle on that Saturday 1:30 kickoff. The Colts play the Falcons in Atlanta, and that's also Saturday, 10 a.m. kickoff. This is the final game that we haven't covered. This is the Houston Texans against the Houston Oilers. Well, it looked like it anyway. Did you see they were wearing the old Houston Oilers? Why were they doing that? That was weird. Like, why did you put it against the Houston? It was confusing for, I'm sure, a lot of people, especially Houston people. The Tennessee Titans decided to wear these old throwbacks from when they used to play in Houston, the Oilers jerseys, against the current Houston Texans. It was pretty weird, didn't you think?
It was weird, and maybe that's why they lost. You know what I mean? Like, it was just sort of like, it's odd.
I don't know. They made that decision and choice. It was very strange.
Very, very, very strange.
Yeah.
And I was just happy that the Texans pulled out the win in overtime, because it almost was a spectacular win.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Until that touchdown got called back, and you're like, oh no. But then they still kicked the field goal for the win, so it was a good win. But
yeah, CJ Stroud being out with the concussion, that made you think that, whoa, this is going to be tough. But Case Keenum came in. It was his first start in a couple of years. He had a pretty decent game and was able to really engineer the victory. It was tight overtime when Devin Singletary was huge on this day, had 170 yards total. They were missing Nico Collins as well in this game, so they had to utilize Noah Brown and Dalton Schultz. And Will Levis was trying to play well. He had suffered an ankle injury, had to miss the part of the game here. And Derrick Henry, Jesus, this is tough to see a guy having 16 rushes with 9 yards. Wow.
Yeah.
We mentioned it about Saquon Barkley, them teeing on him, but was that what they were doing? Were they just putting 11 in the box and just shutting Henry down? I've never seen these kind of numbers from Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Like you kind of now need to wonder if he's kind of reached his end right now, because this year has not been a very good year for Derrick Henry whatsoever. So you're wondering now. There's one there.
0.6 yards per carry, and he's without a contract. He goes into free agency this coming off season. So I think this is probably it with the Titans, and we'll see if somebody trusts that he's still got something. But this has been a tough year for one of the best running backs in the past half dozen years. It's pretty crazy to see how the mighty have fallen sometimes. Titans host the Seahawks Christmas Eve. That's the early window. The Texans host the Browns. Same time for that. So, okay. Now we got to get to UFC 296. Phenomenal card on paper. Really excited about this one. Two title fights on the docket. We were going to get to see the final card of 2023. It looked like it was going to be incredible. It didn't quite live up to the amazing hype that everybody had around it, but it still had its special moments. And I enjoyed quite a few of the fights on this card. How do you think it ended up all in all?
Good enough. You know what I mean? I was somewhat disappointed in the co-main and the main event. I thought there would be more excitement to it, and it just kind of petered out. You know what I mean? Like, especially the main event, when you have a guy that talks as much as Colby Covington, and then he, in my humble opinion, lays an absolute egg in the octagon, and you're just like, oh, so you waited 2 years to do this performance? Bravo. Way to go, buddy. Way to go. No more shots for you. You're done.
0-3 in title shots. I think this is it. Dana White even said, you know, he looked terrible. He maybe was out way too long, and the cage rust sort of took over. He said, you know, he was waiting for a title shot, and sometimes in this game you just can't wait. It really looked strange. I don't remember seeing Colby fight that type of style. He didn't put any pressure on. He got outstruck. He got out wrestled. He just seemed like he was a step slow and wasn't able to just generate much. He might have, I guess he won that 5th round when he was able to end up getting in a dominant position on the ground. But other than that, you know, it was Rocky Edwards, all in all, 100% win. And yeah, I was quite shocked at how it turned out. I expected a lot of fireworks because there was a lot of trash talking, some really offside things that Colby had said, and he did not back up anything that he said. He really just came in there and just did not perform.
No, he didn't perform at all. Edwards was able to keep the fight exactly where he wanted it for the majority of the fight. And the only reason why Colby Covington even won the 5th round is because Edwards was willing to engage in the grappling in the 5th round. He could have easily at one point in time just stepped away and kept it on the feet, but he didn't do that. Yeah. And so it was a blowout. It was a blowout win. Yeah. The other thing that I wasn't impressed by is when Covington won his one lone round in the 5th round, he raised his arms like he was a victor. I'm like, you're a loser. Sorry. Yeah. It's loser mentality right there.
Yeah. Yeah, he frustrates me so much. I have a hard time with guys like him. I just don't think they're good for the sport, and he might be able to, get some animosity going and get a few more pay-per-view buys. But man, I just don't like a guy like him. I really wish he didn't even take the microphone. I kind of wish that Rocky had broken his jaw so he couldn't even speak, because he said a lot of terrible, stupid things fight week and leading up to this, and then even in the octagon. I should have just muted it because it made me angry and mad. And this is a guy that I hope sort of just fades away now. Maybe he's way past his prime, and maybe he's a guy that just isn't going to be relevant anymore with that kind of a performance. To try to get a belt, I don't see him being able to compete against the elite of this division anymore.
No, I don't see it either. But the only thing that I like, there's a reason why Colby Covington puts on this quote unquote persona, because this is what the UFC wants to see. Yeah. They encourage this type of behavior. Yeah. And I think it's detrimental at the end of the day. Yeah. Like, I really do. Like, I've never understood why you wouldn't want somebody like GSP to be the face of your company, who is just this fantastic, awesome human being and was a great champion, but instead you want a clown like Colby Covington, right? And at the end of the day, did he perform? Did he do what you needed him to do? No, he did not.
No. Yeah, all talk and no bite there. So, yeah, good to see him lose. I really was not going to be a happy man if he would have been able to come in and win. And yeah, it's good to see him dispatched. And Rocky, I think, is a good guy, and I think he represents the UFC well, and he's been able to really step up after losing to Usman a long time ago in his career. He's been on a 13-fight unbeaten streak now, and really is one of the shining examples of perseverance, hard work, and not being a jerk to get your opportunity and rise up to the top. And I think, even bigger things are ahead for him. He's going to headline a pay-per-view card in the UK, I'm sure. Anywhere he goes, I'm sure we'll be able to, have some very big numbers. And make the UFC see that you don't have to have guys like Covington to sell pay-per-views and fill houses like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Actually, now that you mentioned that, him heading a pay-per-view in the UK along with Tom Aspinall,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Two great human beings that don't have to put on airs. They don't have to put on a WWE persona. They just have to be themselves, and they'll sell an arena.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah. So what's next for Leon? Is it Bilal? Is that the sort of the right thing to do, or is it Shavkat, who won on this card as well? It has the best record, undefeated in the in MMA. Is it Bilal, who they fought earlier and the fight ended on an eye poke, had to be stopped? Do they give Bilal this chance now?
Yeah, I believe so. I think Bilal's earned it. I think he deserves it. And they have unfinished business. They absolutely have unfinished business. So I think Bilal should be fighting Edwards next, and Rachmanov shouldn't fight anybody. Just wait, see who wins that fight, and then he fights the winner of that fight.
I like it. Yeah. Talk about the co-main event. We had the championship fight in the flyweights. Alexander Pantoja, who's really been able to rise up the ranks and get the belt, and he had a really tough opponent in Brandon Royval, but Pantoja was definitely, to me, the better fighter in the end. He was just able to control the fight so much. He got 8 takedowns, almost 16 full minutes of control time. Royval ended up outstriking him 111 to 95, but with those 8 takedowns and that control time, I thought Pantoja took this fight and did so in a very impressive fashion.
Yeah, Pantoja capitalized on Royval's one deficiency in the fight game, which is takedown defense. Yeah. Absolutely horrendous on that. He took advantage of that, and that's what led him to win this fight. Royval was game. He likes to try to create scrambles and stuff. Pantoja has excellent top control. Yeah, and that's how he won this fight.
Royval ended up turning it on in that 5th round and really landed some very big shots. It looked like Pantoja was getting tired, was starting to feel all of the, his gas output was kind of gone. And it looked like Royval did that. I think Royval should have turned that up in maybe earlier rounds, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th round, not just leaving it to the 5th. It might have had a different outcome.
You might have had a different outcome, but even though in the 5th round where Pantoja was clearly gassed, still got the takedown.
Yeah, true.
Still got the takedown, and then that's what stymied Royval's offense, which was beginning to gain momentum. And then his chance to win the fight was gone after that.
So who do we see? Who do we think that Pantoja fights next? Will it be the winner between Moreno and Albazi? They fight February 24th coming up. Mm-hmm. Will that be the #1 contender fight?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I would say that it's between those two guys. That would be the next ones up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what makes sense.
Royval, the other guys in the division that aren't those two, Kai Kara-France at 4, Mateus Nicolau at 5. With the loss, maybe Royval has to fight a little bit down, and those two would be both great opponents.
Yeah, those two would be great opponents, but yeah, since Royval has lost this fight, it's going to take him a while to possibly get another shot at the champ again.
Shavkat Rachmanov, we mentioned a little earlier. He went to 18-0 with a big victory over Wonderboy Thompson. It was interesting, the style that Shavkat put out there, and a lot of people were wondering why. And he revealed after the fight, so did his gym, that he had a severe ankle injury that almost led him to pull out of the fight. He came really close to deciding that he couldn't perform. He wasn't able to throw any kicks. he was not able to really do much in the stand-up game, so he decided to clinch, get the takedown, and he got the first submission victory over Wonder Boy in Wonder Boy's long historic career. And I didn't totally notice myself during the fight, but then it made sense more when I heard after that he was suffering from this injury.
That's what makes his win even more incredible.
Yeah.
Like he was severely hampered against one of the most elusive fighters in the UFC, and he choked him out. That is as impressive as it gets.
Yeah.
That's as impressive as it gets. I know when I heard that, I was just like, he was hurt? It didn't look hurt.
No.
Like that's an amazing poker face, because I'm pretty sure
there was no tell there. Yeah. You couldn't tell, but he didn't employ the same type of style that I normally are used to him. So I was like, okay, well, maybe they just changed their game plan and wanted
for
to,
Wonder Boy.
change it for Wonder Boy. But then when he said, he couldn't train properly. He couldn't throw kicks. He couldn't really do the stand-up game. So he had to, change it and do the clinch game and, try to take it to the ground. And to be able to choke out Wonder Boy first time ever, it's an absolutely amazing performance. And I think his reputation even grows larger with this victory.
Not just his reputation, his legend. His legend grows larger with this victory, because he's 18-0, first person to ever choke out Wonder Boy. And Wonder Boy is a genius at knowing the subtleties of the human body when he's in there fighting a person. He didn't know that the guy was injured.
No.
That just tells you everything that you need to know.
Yeah. That was his 6th straight finish. That's the longest finish streak in UFC welterweight history, and it's the longest active streak, 6 straight finishes. Pretty amazing. There's only 2 other fighters that are even close to his 18-0 record. Movsar Evloev is 17-0, and Azat Maxim is 17-0 as well. But this guy is on a meteoric rise. I think he'll have to have one more fight, and then he'll get an opportunity at Rocky here. Fighting number 6, number 5, so you don't really move up much in the rankings, but as he said, his legendary status has just really improved and made people say, okay, this guy is a guy that's a force to be reckoned with. And coming forward, we're gonna see him probably fight for a title quite soon. I want to get to some more of the fights on the card, but I also do want to mention that one of the biggest fights that's getting a lot of attention media-wise was the fight in the crowd between Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis. Dana White said he screwed up and put them sitting 2 rows apart from each other in the same section. I don't know if I believe Dana that he made a mistake there, but that was weird. As soon as I saw it and they showed du Plessis, then they showed Strickland, I thought, what the hell are they doing that close together? They're supposed to fight in about a month. What the heck's going on here? And Strickland, the idiot he is, the only nice thing he did is he told Gilbert Burns' kids and family to move aside so he could jump up and punch him a couple times. And Strickland luckily got kicked out of the arena and had to go home from there. But this was kind of ridiculous, and I really wish that the UFC, if they purposely did it, I really wish they wouldn't have done it. And if they made a mistake, you can't make mistakes like that, because people are going to possibly get hurt in that arena, and that's not a good look for UFC if there's fights happening in the crowd.
I think it's utterly ridiculous. You're trying to tell me that you didn't know? Really? You're trying to tell me that it was a mistake? Get out of here. I don't believe that for a second. The thing that you have to worry about is the fact that Gilbert Burns' children were right there.
Yeah.
What if one of them gets seriously hurt?
Yeah.
That's not funny.
No.
That's not funny at all. That's not something that you mess around with.
No.
Whatsoever. Ever. All right. That's what pissed me off the most about this whole entire fiasco. And I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
And so if you're gonna do that again, which I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen again, if you're gonna do that again, make sure none of the children are around. All right. Just do that. At least do that.
Have those fans in a different section altogether for sure. But I guess it'll create a bit of hype and controversy. It's the next card in Canada. It's January 20th in Toronto. Those two will be the main event in Toronto, as long as they don't get injured. They weren't injured in this. I don't know for sure that's the case, but we'll see. I'd love to see Duplessis take Strickland out, and we don't have to see a guy like that. I just think he's too much of a loose cannon. He's a guy that it doesn't represent the sport well, and theirs was another typical example. He didn't have to do what he did. It was kind of ridiculous. Even if Duplessis said something a little bit whatever, you don't just take it to a guy in the crowd like that.
Yeah, because apparently he was triggered, and Duplessis is just like he's absolutely right. It's like, so you get to say whatever the heck you want, but if I'm to trigger you, I'm attacked immediately. Yeah, okay, whatever, man, whatever, dude. Yeah. And I understand that, because like Strickland says some offside stuff all the time, all the time. So I'm looking forward to the fight.
Me
There's
too.
one thing I'm looking forward to that fight.
Also, I want to make mention that when Dana White stepped up to the podium after the post-fight press conference, he made an announcement about the Miami card, which is coming up March the 9th. He mentioned 4 fights that are going to be on that card. Michael Venom Page has been signed by the UFC, and he will now fight Kevin Holland on that card. That's going to be super great. Ian Gary fell off this card. He was supposed to fight Vicente Luque. He will now be fighting Jeff Neal on the Miami card. Gilbert Burns will be fighting Jack Della Maddalena, and Song Yadong against Peter Yan. So 4 great fights that Dana announced for this Miami card.
That's a great card. That's a great start to that card. I love it already. Those are great fights.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, a lot of really, really great matchups there. Okay, back to UFC 296. Tony Ferguson against Paddy Pimblett. I thought this wasn't really cool of what the UFC did. Paddy Pimblett coming in, 6-fight winning streak. Tony Ferguson, 6-fight losing streak. This is not something that you ever see matchmaking like this. Usually you see 2 guys facing each other, both off losses or both off wins. Especially streaks like this. This is kind of crazy. I think they threw Tony in, gave him Paddy, said, if you lose this fight, you're done. I think, unfortunately, Tony Ferguson went from one of the best fighters in the world, former interim champion, the boogeyman, to, I think the Justin Gaethje fight that he got beat up so bad, I think just changed him, and he's never been the same. And I think this loss probably spells the end of his career. I can't even believe he survived the first round. He ended up going the entire distance, but tough to see a guy that was, such an elite fighter fall down to these depths. And he's tied BJ Penn for the longest losing streak in UFC history with this loss, and how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to see, but we've seen it with other fighters, with like BJ Penn, Chuck Liddell. I think there's only a certain level or amount of damage you can take before your body just literally says, "Can't do it anymore, buddy. We're done."
Yeah.
And I think it was once he had that fight with Justin Gaethje, and how brutal and how vicious that fight was, and how much damage he took. I think you're absolutely right. He never recovered from that. He was never the same after that. And I think it's probably for the benefit of Tony Ferguson's overall health that he just stops fighting now.
Yeah.
I think.
I wanted to say, Tony, from 2011 to 2019, he was 15-1, 11 finishes, 10 bonuses, and his strike differential was plus 296 in those 16 fights.
Wow.
Then from 2020 to 2023, 0-7, one bonus, minus 192 in his strikes, and zero finishes, obviously. And I, yeah, as I've said many times on this podcast, I don't want to ever say when a guy should retire. But just look at it, Tony. Just look at it, friends and family, people that are in his corner. I guess his father had shown some concerns and talked to some of the analysts about him and said that he doesn't spar anymore. He hasn't sparred in years. And when you're not sparring, you're not getting yourself properly ready for fights. And he went on this David Goggins,
Yes.
what is it called? Like
Hell week.
Hell
Great
Week.
week.
Yeah, Hell Week. And, sure, that's going to get you cardio grade, get
Oh, yeah.
your toughness up, that kind of thing. But this is the fight game where you need to have sparring so your reflexes are sharp, your images of when a guy's throwing certain kicks, punches, different types of strikes at you, your brain immediately reacts properly. I don't see that somehow his mentality that he doesn't need sparring anymore has really been a smart move. And I think his father, who was his coach for many, many years, isn't anymore, is seeing his son fail like this and trying his best to help him out. But I think Tony is his own worst enemy with this, and unfortunately, this should be and might be the end.
Yeah, because like you need sport specific training.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been doing that. The only thing that his Hell Week like gave him as a benefit for this fight was that he was able to endure and hold on and get to the end of the bell, get to the end of the fight.
Yeah.
And then, but at the same time, he took way too much damage.
Yeah.
That's all he accomplished, was that I finished the fight and I took a ton of damage that I didn't need.
Yeah. Paddy Pimblett didn't have his hair. He's decided that his hair, when he gets hit or moves, it looks like he takes too big of a damage. Decided to do the cornrows and said he's never gonna have the hair out again. That was his signature, and it's kind of weird to see the guy with a different hairstyle like that.
Well, it was, but at the same time, he's never looked better. He's never looked better in a fight. He looked absolutely awesome, absolutely dominant.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep the cornrows, buddy. Look good.
Yeah. Did you rock cornrows before?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yep. I have rocked cornrows before, but it was once I turned the age of 30 where I said, I'm not paying for $100 hairstyles anymore. $30. I'm good.
All right. So it's a financial thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, it gets expensive, buddy.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, I would think it takes a long time and is expensive, and I feel like it would hurt a bit. Like
it's tight in the beginning, like so it feels like you're like your hair is just like super like being pulled back all the time, and so it takes a while for your scalp to get used to it. But eventually it does. But it costs a lot of money, so I'm just like, yeah, just tight to the head. I'm good.
I see. Good idea. Okay, let's mention the Josh Emmett KO of Bryce Thug Mitchell. You mentioned on the podcast that you didn't want Bryce to take the microphone, and this punch ensured that wasn't going to happen. That was one of my first thoughts I had in my brain when he hit the canvas. Yay, he's not taking the microphone. You were happy. I was happy. Probably millions of people watching were happy. And it was a hell of a knockout that we're going to see on highlight reels for years to come. He just crumpled, and it was a spectacular knockout that won him $50K for one of the performances of the night, and it was awesome to see.
I think that was the only punch that was the one lone strike he threw. One and done.
Yeah.
Boom, done.
Yeah.
And then he looked and said, "Oh yeah, I don't need to hit him anymore." Like,
No.
and he really didn't need to hit him anymore
No.
because his legs were doing some weird stuff and everything else. Like it was after a while though, even though I'm not a big fan of Bryce Mitchell, got a little worried because I'm like, he's not waking up anytime soon.
Yeah.
Then that's a little bit concerning. But luckily he got to his feet. Although I kind of agreed with Joe Rogan, I thought they rushed him a little too much.
Yeah.
Thought they should have probably kept him on the mat, made sure that he had more of his senses gathered together, because I'm pretty sure that whatever he was saying, people were just like, "Oh, he's not making any sense
Yeah,
whatsoever."
the only thought I had is try to get him to the hospital as quick as you can, because obviously that was a severe concussion.
Oh yeah,
Luckily, he checked out. I think, just have a gurney there, put him on the gurney, even if he doesn't necessarily need it. His legs seemed still rubbery, and he
yes,
wasn't standing properly in the early stages. Just put him on a gurney, whip him to the hospital, just make sure. We've unfortunately lost boxers a lot over the years, and it's been head trauma that's killed many of them. Thank goodness we had never lost a UFC fighter, but he was compromised, and he was severely in trouble there on the canvas after he started waking up.
oh yeah, man. Like that was one hell of a punch.
Yeah.
That was that was Josh Emmett saying, "This is everything, my everything. I'm going to put everything that I have, my soul, into this punch."
Yeah.
And it's like, "Oh man, you almost killed that. Maybe you shouldn't do that again. Don't punch."
Yeah. Emmett is super tough, and
Oh,
he's at 38 years old, still can wallop. One of those team alpha male guys that's really good. And coming off 2 losses in a row to Yair and Ilya Tapuria, he needed to make a statement, and he sure did.
yeah.
That was awesome, and you got your wish. Thug Mitchell did not take the mic, and he won't be able to take the mic for a while after that. Crazy knockout. It was amazing. And I was really actually shocked that Mitchell was the favorite, the betting favorite going in here. I did not expect that, especially coming in on short notice.
Yeah, 2 weeks notice.
Yeah, he was supposed to fight Giga Chikadze, and Chikadze had to pull out. And Bryce, I don't know what the bettors were thinking. Or Vegas was thinking putting him as the favorite.
Yeah, because it's like, no, like Josh Emmett is super dangerous.
Yeah.
And as much time that Josh Emmett didn't have to adjust to now like a top tier grappler, Bryce Mitchell didn't have time to adjust to a power striker as well. So, and that's what happened. But power striker really hits you with all of his power. It's game over.
Damn. Yeah. You're going down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's briefly mention about the Alonzo Menifield, Dustin Jacoby fight. Both these guys are super tough, very, very, very good fighters. Dustin Jacoby had a very long kickboxing career, fought tough guys like Alex Pereira and many others. But Menifield, man, that guy is a physical specimen. He was able to drop Jacoby with a big fight and a big shot. And Menifield, to me, he won 2 out of the 3 rounds in this one, and when it went to the judges' scorecards, I thought Menifield had done enough. He now has a 5-fight unbeaten streak, and moving on.
Yeah, well, Menifield was able to hurt Jacoby over and over again with his left hand.
Yeah,
and that left hand was Jacoby's bane to his existence. He wasn't really ever able to really figure it out. Even when Menifield was beginning to lose steam, still dropped him again in the third with the left hand again. So great win by Menifield. And I give Jacoby a lot of credit for hanging in there where a lot of other fighters would have wilted and failed and got killed.
True. Yeah. The fight of the night was a female fight. Irene Aldana against Carol Hossa, number 5 against number 9. And this fight ended up setting a women's bantamweight record for combined landed strikes with 349. Hossa landed 204, and Aldana 145. 122 head strikes by Hossa, 103 by Aldana, 95 leg kicks landed by Aldana, only 3 by Hossa. There was really no defense, just letting it all hang out, and they just beat the F out of each other. And the picture of them at the hospital was pretty spectacular. Both of them wore it, but they both got 50K each for their troubles, and they're definitely going to be highlighted high up on a card next time after that great battle.
It was a great battle. I think Aldana needs to practice checking leg kicks because her lead leg was absolutely tore up. Hossa did a great job taking that leg apart. Yeah. But the one thing that I was amazed at is Aldana kept it front forward, really didn't switch her stance, and just kept coming. Well, I'm like, all right, that's some toughness. Yeah. That's rare toughness that you ever see from a man or a woman.
Yeah.
And she kept on the pressure. She kept on the gas. It was an impressive win because she had to go through a ton of adversity to win that fight.
95 kicks to my leg. I don't think I'm standing after that. Like that is unreal how much abuse she took to that and still kept at it. Both women, big ups, big applause to both of them. Super big warriors and amazing. With all these fights on this card that they got fight of the night, I would not have bet anything that would have been the case going into this.
No, I definitely didn't think that. But once that fight started and just the way that it ended, I was impressed.
Yeah,
the ladies put on a fantastic show.
Cody Garbrandt got another big KO victory and looked really good doing so. It looked like the Cody of old. I was impressed with everything that he brought to the cage and was able to knock out Brian Kelleher. Kelleher deserves to get knocked out with that horrible hairstyle. But love to see Cody back, and him calling out Davison Figueiredo wants him next. Another guy that had been through some ups and downs, but this was the old Cody in my opinion.
Oh, he looked fantastic, and his hand speed is no joke.
Yeah,
it is when he's on point, he is as dangerous as it gets, and it was a perfect counter. Perfect punch, perfect counter. Yeah. Caught him coming in. Done. Didn't need to hit him again either. He walked off. He walked away from that one.
Yeah. That's his fifth KO in this division. That ties him with Song Yadong and Eddie Wineland for third most ever KOs in this division. Song fought Rob Font last week as the main event. Font has actually 6 KOs. And the other two that have 6 KOs are Sean O'Malley and Marlon Chito Vera, who fight each other soon. And TJ Dillashaw has the most KOs ever in this division with 7. TJ's probably finished his career now. That's what I hear.
Yep.
Yeah. Ariana Lipski also got 50K for her victory. The Queen of Violence got the big win, and it's amazing to see 4 women on this card and 3 of them get bonuses.
Oh yeah, man. And Lipski looked fantastic, and man, it was when she put in that arm bar, I'm like, oh man, I would tap it, but is it too late? I didn't. She definitely hyperextended that elbow.
Yeah, I
thought it was like literally microseconds away from it being broken.
Breaking, yeah.
Before she actually tapped, I'm like, luckily she tapped in time because I think she was literally a second away from it actually breaking.
Yeah, it sure looked like it to me. Yeah, amazing. Luckily it's only hyperextended from what I hear. So, but she is the Queen of Violence and got 50K for that too. Great performance. Okay. Do you want to mention do you want to mention anything else on this card? Should we fly through it?
I'm going to be honest. That was the last one I was able to see. So I did not see any of the earlier prelims or any of the earlier fights.
Okay. I guess 50K to Shamil Gaziev. He came in. This was his UFC debut. 12-0 now. Got a really great victory. TKO stoppage. Mark Smith stopped it after sustained damage. First ever fighter from Bahrain, and he got $50K. That was the opening fight of the night. And yeah, that's about it. 2024, yeah, we don't have any more cards in 2023. 2024 cards coming up. First one is January 13th in Vegas. Ankalaev against Walker 2. We'll be able to do a preview in the new year when we do it. We mentioned Strickland Duplessis in Toronto, January 20th. Delice versus Imavov, Vegas, February 3rd. Hermanson Pfeiffer in Vegas, February 10th. So some good cards coming up for sure. And I do want to just make a few mentions of the NBA before we head off. The biggest story was today. Miles Bridges from the Charlotte Hornets was denied entry into Canada last night as the Charlotte Hornets were traveling here to come to play the Toronto Raptors. Bridges has had a lot of legal issues related to some fights with an ex-girlfriend of his, has had some domestic violence charges and some legal problems around that, has been suspended by the NBA, and has only been able to play 14 games this season. He's averaged 20 points and 7 rebounds, but the border guard said, nope, not allowed to come here, buddy, and sent him home. Charlotte had to come in and face the Raptors without one of their top guys. Kind of surprising to hear that news today.
A little bit surprising, but I'm not surprised. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, no, you have all these things up against you. And basically, we're saying that we don't want you here in our country.
Yeah.
We do not want you here. You are not welcome. Go back home. Go home.
Yeah, that was I was pretty shocked and pretty surprised. They are depleted big time. Charlotte has just fallen on some really tough times. LaMelo Ball missed I think it was his 11th straight game tonight. Vancouver, what am I saying? Gordon Hayward was sick. Cody Martin was out. Mark Williams was out. They missed Bridges. They are 7-18 on the season. Raptors were able to get the 114-99 victory over them, and your Charlotte Hornets are in big trouble, not having a good year.
Yeah. They're doing great. They're really good. Like, they're really showing up well. They're not very good. I thought there might be a chance of them like turning it around since MJ's not a part of the team or anything at all, but nope. They're old Charlotte Hornets. Okay.
Same old, yeah. Miles Bridges talking about suspensions. John Morant is back from his 25-game suspension this week. His first game back goes tomorrow in New Orleans for those reeling Memphis Grizzlies. They've really had a tough time without Ja. Your thoughts on his comeback starting tomorrow?
I hope he doesn't go on Instagram waving a gun. That's number one. All right. Yeah. I hope that doesn't happen. Number two, I think the one thing that people are forgetting, it's not just John Morant that's hurt by him not being there. It's also Steven Adams, who is awesome offensive rebounder, period. Yeah. Him not being there along with John Morant has led to the Grizzlies having an abysmal record. I don't know if they can turn it around this season. I actually don't see the Grizzlies even making the playoffs this year. I think because of this awful, horrendous start, it's just soured the entirety of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, they're sitting 13th place and 6-18 record, 4 losses in a row. I guess they're about 8.5 games behind the number 8 place Lakers. So yeah, lost season, and very, very tough. They've lost too many. Dylan Brooks, I think, was a big loss for them as well. And they've lost just way too much to be a force. So Couple of sad notes I want to mention. Former NBA player Eric Montross, he passed away Sunday after about 9 months after being diagnosed with cancer. He was only 52 years old. He was a really big standout at the University of North Carolina. When he was there, he ended up getting drafted by the Boston Celtics, number 9 overall in the '94 draft. He ended up playing for 6 teams over 9 seasons. He played with Boston, Toronto, Detroit, Dallas, New Jersey, and Philly. And after his NBA career, he went back to North Carolina and was their radio color commentator until he just recently stepped away. Yeah, tough that a guy gets diagnosed and 9 months later he's gone at a pretty relatively young age of 52.
Yeah, that's condolences to the family, obviously, but and just gone far too young, far too.
Some other sad news. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar ended up falling and breaking his hip on Friday night. He was at a concert in Los Angeles. He underwent surgery on Saturday. They think it's at least a 3-month recovery from him. The 6-time MVP, Hall of Famer, 5-time champion, second in NBA career scoring, has been a warrior throughout his career. He's actually battled prostate cancer and leukemia and fought through those back. And we'll see how he rebounds from this latest health setback. Man, that's tough. It's tough when a guy his age and his long stature, that's a long fall to drop and fall on your hip. Yeah, hopefully he can recover very soon.
Yeah, hopefully he can. And plus, on top of that, he's gone through tougher medical crises. So I think he should recover from this and be just fine.
Yeah. What did you think about Draymond losing his mind and getting this indefinite suspension? They say it's a minimum of 3 weeks, but it's indefinite. He has to undergo some counseling and some help and support and try to stop these incidents from happening. He just doesn't seem to be able to have his anger under control, and this latest incident has him on the shelf for a while, and it's gonna hurt the Warriors and Draymond, obviously, and yeah, but I guess we saw with John Morant, had to have this long suspension. I guess the NBA has decided that same thing has to be done with Draymond and the way he's operating.
If you have memes made about you of you just doing WWE moves, and then that's kind of how, if you look at his career, that's what he's done. It's gotten to a point of like, okay, you clearly have a problem. You clearly have a problem that you're not addressing. You know what the problem is, but you now need to address it if you want to continue playing in this league, or else, right? And I think it's a strong message that needed to be sent by the league, saying either you address this issue or you're not playing in this league anymore.
All right.
Period.
Yeah.
And I think that's what needed to have happen. I watched that game. There is in no way anything that Nurkic did that he deserved something like that. And I thought Nurkic dealt with it very well by saying, dude needs help.
Yeah.
Because that was ridiculous. And he was absolutely right. It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
completely.
No, it was so offside and not a basketball play at all. And yeah, he needs some anger management help, and so hopefully some counseling and some hopefully he has some good people around him to finally smarten him up, because he's cost himself a lot. He's cost the Warriors a lot, and if this continues up, he's going to cost him his career.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And the other thing that I've never appreciated or liked, maybe it's the reason why he made it to the league or whatever, but he's just unapologetic. He doesn't apologize for anything that he ever does. And I think that's a detriment, or that's a flaw in his character, per se, because if you're trying to tell me that what you did was absolutely correct at that point in time, what are you, an idiot? No, it wasn't. There's nothing right about what you did. Nothing.
Yeah. Speaking of Draymond, his teammate Steph Curry did something yesterday he hasn't done in 268 games. Did you hear about this?
No, I have no idea.
He did not hit a three-pointer for the first time in 268 games. That is an NBA record. He was 0 for 8 on three-pointers, and he finally has that record snapped. He has the second most games in a row as the record that he surpassed a while back at 157 games. So he was sort of getting close to even doubling that record. So, this isn't, something where you got to be like alarmed. Oh no, has Steph lost it? Nobody's even anywhere close to 268 games. So it should be kind of rewarded, or we should be applauding him for this, because I don't think people were kind of maybe aware until it finally just comes to an end.
Yeah, of course. And then plus on top of that, with all the troubles that the Warriors are going through, and he's still performing, he's still producing, and he's still doing all of this stuff. Like yeah, he's amazing, awesome. And I don't see anybody coming near that mark, and maybe not even in our lifetime.
Yeah. Well, the new active leader in the streak now is Damian Lillard, and he has 101. So it's going to take many seasons to catch him. Cam Johnson is next with 50. And so you could actually go through the top 5 guys and combine all the games together, and it doesn't add up to what Steph just did. We've got the Beard. We've got KD with, oh no, sorry, we got Bogdanovich with 35, Mike Conley with 34, KD with 32, and Trey Murphy with 22, down in 7th place. Klay Thompson ended up stepping up in his place. So did Andrew Wiggins. They ended up getting the victory anyway yesterday. And Steph is still averaging 30 points a game, and really contributing a ton to helping the Warriors. The Warriors are struggling right now, but this 268 games, that's just phenomenal. I doubt that record will ever be broken. I really, really doubt it.
Yeah, me too. I absolutely doubt it.
Yeah.
But the really good thing about that win that they had over the Trailblazers is that possibly Thompson and Wiggins could be coming out of their slump, with Thompson getting 28 points and Wiggins 25 respectively.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, they needed that. They were both struggling this year, so they needed that big time. NBA players of the week are Luka Doncic and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Both players' first wins player of the week this season. Doncic led Dallas to a 3-1 record. He averaged 37 points a game, 8 rebounds, 11.5 assists, and got Dallas up to number 3 seed in the West at 16-9 record. He had another 40-point triple-double this past week, his 8th in his career, passing Wilt Chamberlain, who had 7, right behind Russell Westbrook. And James Harden has 16, and Oscar Robertson 22 in his career. With Kyrie out with this heel bruise, Luka is still keeping Dallas chugging along, and they're playing really well, even though Kyrie's not there.
Yeah, Luka's really good. Like he's really, really, really good. If there's one thing that I absolutely appreciate, I just love watching that guy play.
Yeah,
I love watching him play. I love the way that he passes the ball, because you don't know where the ball's going to go. You don't know how he's going to pass it, but he's going to do the right thing with the ball at all times. He's like the Joker. It's like when you run the offense through him, everything good happens.
Yeah.
Everything good.
Yeah. Other guys in consideration for the West Player of the Week were Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, Karl Anthony Towns, Zion Williamson, and Keegan Murray, who had a phenomenal game the other day. Giannis, as I said, got his Player of the Week. It's his 22nd in his career. Led the Bucks to a 4-0 record over the week. 36 points, 12.8 rebounds, 4.5 assists on 64% shooting for Giannis. And the Bucks are number 2 seed in the East with 19-7 record. Giannis is absolutely amazing. Other nominees in the East are teammates Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, and Donovan Mitchell. All 4 were in consideration for that. Bradley Beal has been injured again. He's out at least 2 weeks. And those 3, the top big 3 in Phoenix, have only played together 28 minutes this entire season. So the health is something that you and I talked about. If they can stay healthy, look out, but they haven't been able to, and it's led to a tougher start for them. They're sitting down in 10th place in the West, and just crazy how they cannot stay healthy.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I would love to see what it looks like when all 3 of them are actually on the court together, and well, we don't know when we'll ever see that. So stay tuned.
Yeah. One last note, the Philadelphia 76ers are going for the all-time losingest record. They've lost 23 straight going into this week, sitting at a record of 2 wins and 24 losses. Monty Williams is probably happy that he's got this money coming in, but it's got to be tough to endure this. 23 in a row. They are tied right now with the Vancouver Grizzlies, the Charlotte Bobcats, both no longer franchises, and the Denver Nuggets with 23 losses in a row. The streak is 26 in a row. Philadelphia 76ers, Cleveland Cavaliers both lost 26 games in a row. I think Detroit really could do this and lose more than 26 in a row. It does. They have not been competitive at all, and this is rough. It's got to be rough in the Motor City.
Yeah, the Detroit Pistons are not good. It's like they got talent. They clearly have some talent. They have some pieces, but it's just it is not come together whatsoever. And also, too, it's not good because you're worse than Washington Wizards.
Yeah.
And I've seen how Jordan Poole has played. That's not good.
They're
And
terrible.
you are worse than them.
They're bad.
So I don't know what needs to happen, but I think that roster needs to be completely shaken up. There's another thing that I've looked at on that team. I have no idea why Monty Williams is not playing Jaden Ivey more. That is, I am flabbergasted by that. I'm flummoxed. I don't understand that. But yeah, the team is not good. The way they're constructed, there definitely needs to be change. Change needs to happen.
Their next opportunity to win is Thursday. They play the Jazz, then they play back-to-back against Brooklyn, home and home, Saturday, Tuesday. Then the Celtics, the Raptors. I guess the Celtics game, Thursday the 28th, could be the record-breaking 27th loss in a row. I don't think they're going to beat Boston. Could be Utah. And having back-to-back against the same team, maybe you can make adjustments after one, but that's pretty bad. We're losing that much in a row. I have PTSD myself from that year when they lost 23 in a row, and I went into the locker room on at least a dozen of those games, and it was rough, man. It was hard to find a guy to talk to that wanted to even say anything about it. Down in the dumps, and it was like going into a funeral home in a morgue and somebody had died. It was impossible to get anybody to talk to you, and yeah, I feel sorry for these guys.
Yeah, me too. And also, too, at least the good thing is it should feel like a funeral home because that means they care. If they're partying and they have some music blasting, like, man, it happens. It's like, no, man, you're supposed to care.
Yeah.
So, the Pistons they got nothing going for them at this moment in time, and that feeds into it itself. When you keep losing, and then all of a sudden it's like a dark hole, and you don't see any way out of it, so to speak. So I think roster change needs to happen. They need some infusion of new life in there, new players. They need to do something.
I am pretty shocked that the Clippers have won 8 in a row. That's been shocking to me when I noticed that today.
Yeah, well, first off, I I I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all because I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, Clippers fans. I want you to fail. I really do. I want you to fail. I didn't appreciate the way that Harden's always conducted himself, forced his way out of things, forced his way out of places. I've never liked that. All right. That's why I'm kind of rooting against you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they figured something out. And I think they figured it out because Russell Westbrook was willing to go to the bench for the betterment of the team.
Right.
And that actually when things started to turn around.
True.
So I credit a lot of these wins because of Russell Westbrook and him being the bigger man for the betterment of the team.
I like it. Yeah, good point. Well, that's a perfect way to end it, man. I'm heading to the bench for the betterment of the team, and we're going to shelve this for a couple weeks. I hope you have a absolutely amazing holiday. I know you got a few days left of work, but yeah, let's hope we can get together for a Christmas drink before it's all said and done. And yeah, thanks so much for a fantastic year. Thanks for being super consistent and being able to do this. It's been great. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, well, hey, thanks for having me on. This has always been a pleasure. I always love doing this with you. Yeah, this is just a lot of fun. It's a good time for me as always. And I did talk to Joe possibly this Thursday. So,
oh, sweet, good to hear. Okay,
all right.
Cool, man. All right, great. Have a great night. Get a good sleep, and have a good day at work tomorrow. We'll talk soon.
All right, you betcha.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Okay, man. Thanks so much. Okay. Well, that was a long one. Wow. We're pushing 3 hours. Thanks for sticking in. Appreciate your support as always. And thanks to our partners and sponsors for your support. Anchor, easiest place to make a podcast. Ribeiro, hockey equipment and apparel company, a leader in technology, performance, and value. Pampas and Possibilities, designers of West Coast beautiful things for your home. And Forever Living, health and beauty products from aloe vera. You can buy products on our website for discounted rates. Thanks so much. Love you guys lots. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. All that. Take care of yourself. And yeah, we look forward to 2024. It's going to be a spectacular year. Love you lots. Take care of yourself and bye for now.